O Show. This is the Big 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 O Show. This is
So here we are. I wanted to show you the backyard again because we had some trouble last time, but you know, CuttersEdgePro.com does some amazing stuff, and they're the boys and the girl. They're having fun. There we go. Right, Maiden? Right, Bono? There we go. They're having fun. I'm having fun. Look at our Sylvester palm. It is beautiful. We got another one in the front yard like that. You can take your home and landscaping to the next level. And the artificial turf, look at that. Look at that, the two dinosaurs going at it, huh? Look at that. Gotta love the dinosaurs. Look at them. They like to bite each other's legs. That's what they do. They play with each other and then they bite each other and they piss each other off. It's fun. One is Bono, which is the one farther away from you, and Maiden. She's the girl right here. She's a badass. That's for sure. So anyway, see the flowers are coming out. Very nice. CuttersEdgePro.com, folks. This big tree there will start budding that I'm showing you there soon. It'll have all kinds of flowers. I'll post another video and I'll show it to you. This is a backyard where everybody gets to hang out. Over there in the corner there, I put the barbecue and cook. So that way it's the farthest away from the house, you know. If I light myself on fire or somebody else, we're out in the corner away from everybody. There you go. So you can get some flowers coming out, which is a beautiful thing. And I swear by this artificial turf, it always looks phenomenal. I don't have to cut it. I don't have to water it. And so I'm saving a lot of money, hundreds and thousands in the long run, because I'm not watering or, of course, cutting the grass. And you know, here in South Florida, we cut the grass like every 10 to 14 days.
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Radio Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated. They offer free 30-day storage, full service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them. With Slogans, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house! Get out of the house!
Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
With more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes, Welton Rayum is committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. At Welton Rayum, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle, slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. That's 954-966-4646. Welton Rayum can help. Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Hey, alrighty. Why does it looks kind of purplish? It's kind of weird. Like, what's the deal? Are you seeing it kind of purplish?
You're a little bluish. Do you have a light on you?
Huh?
Is there a light on you?
Yeah, I got a light. Definitely.
Anything?
Is it that we don't have the does that balance it out? No? I have no idea. I don't know what's going on, but it's kind of bluish.
It's not as blue, but it's still got a little bit bluish tint, though. I don't know what's going on.
I feel like I'm, what is it? Gale, whatever, Blue Bayou. That's it. Anyway, welcome aboard. Good morning, boys and girls. I don't know what the hell's going on with the lighting, but
it is what it is. I don't know. I can't. I'm looking at it there. It's just looking at it on the YouTube channel live. On the past.
It actually might be one of your other screens.
What's that?
It might be one of your other screens. Do you have your other tablets and stuff open too, like normal?
Yeah.
It's one of them. One of them has got something on it that's a different light, possibly because it's changing as you look at it. So
okay,
it's not as blue. So I think it might be just one of your screens.
All right. Okay. All right. This is actually a pretty trippy story. We'll talk about that actually coming up here. I'm just reading before we got on. Trippy story. So we'll get to that eventually on Le Programme. Oh, man. All right. It is Wednesday. It's hump day. We got all kinds of stuff to talk about. Heat season opens up tonight. NBA season opened up last night. Heat tonight are taking on the Pistons. By the way, I just, investment purposes, because, we're about investments on this show a little bit. Before the playoffs, you always take the team that plays against Miami after getting too many points. It's 9 points tonight that the Heat are giving the Pistons. Not that I want to bet against the Heat or anything like that, but we did this last year, right? Remember that we were taking the opponent because the Heat would win, but they would never win by that many points. And 9 points is a lot of points, dude. The Pistons aren't terrible. I don't know about that one, bro, investment-wise. Do you want another investment that I like? I hate to say it. It's against our teams. Sean, how much? What do you think the University of Miami is favored against Virginia? Just in case. If you've seen it already, then just tell me. But if you haven't, take a guess.
I have not seen it, but I'm gonna guess Virginia beat North Carolina.
Right.
Miami's coming off of Clemson. 9.5, 10?
19.
Oh, no.
Right. Your answer is perfect. You just disappeared. You're like, fuck that. I'm taking Virginia. Seriously. 19. Why would I bet on UM there? The smarter bet is taking the 19 points. I can't trust Mario Cristobal. Oh, God. I saw it. I don't know about you, but I'm looking at those lines and I'm like, yeah, the investment's on the other side. You got to take the Pistons tonight and you got to take Virginia. I think both the Heat and the Canes will win. Not necessarily totally convinced the Canes will win, but I think they can eke it out. But they're going to win by 20 against Virginia? No. So that's just something that it hit me. By the way, I threw out a poll question today. And you know what? We should put it right here. Do it for me right now, Sean. Let's put out a poll question for the folks on the live chat board. Okay. Will Bitcoin hit 35,000 today? It's been screwing around now since it got to 34. It got close to 35, but, it's been hovering right around 34. It's been at 33.7, 33.9, 34, 34.1, 34.2, 34.5. Like right now, I think the last time I checked, it was like 34.5 or 4 or something like that. 34.4. So it's at 34,412. So will it hit 35,000? We got the poll question on Twitter at Big O Show, but let's see if we can put one here, because not all of you are Twitter people. You know what I'm saying? So I completely understand. Boy, Chainlink it's up almost 8% today. It is awesome, dude. Awesome. So there you go. I'm gonna vote yes because I think it's gonna hit 35 today because they relisted ARK Investments and BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF. Like it's going to get approved here like shortly, like within today and the next day or two, a week, that it's coming. And if that happens, billions are going to be bought in Bitcoin. And so I just think it's going to climb. Good morning, Sean and O. There's Chad. Good day, everybody. Gus 1388. Let's see who is first. Steve Chapman is in the house. The good news is we have the Patriots this week. Yes, sir. Jamie Zorrilla in San Jose with the hump day. And he reminds everybody to smash the like button. Remember, tomorrow we'll be at Hialeah Park starting off at 3 o'clock. We'll bring some T-shirts too. Brian Walters, John Padilla, Giovanni, Steven, No Doubt, Cash the Jeweler, One-Eyed Jack. Do you think Williams and X plays this week? I think Connor I think Connor doesn't play this week, and X. I think they hold him out for next week, hold him out one more week for Kansas City. That's what I think they do. Jonathan Cagle, Uber Beaner, Diego Souza, Gordon Shumway, Jay Gelfin. The world got shafted yesterday with the loss of Richard Roundtree. Yes, Richard Roundtree, man. Classic actor. No doubt about it, man. Rest in peace. Mike Honcho, Cap for Life, Gotti 4453, Lisa Rose, No Doubt. Cap for Life says, I need a light, bro. Ray Sosa, Alexis. Shumway says, maybe it's like Weird Science when they turn the whole room blue at the party. Yeah, it's what it kind of feels like. Or maybe I'm just getting old and my hair is blue. And you guys we think it's lighting, but it's just me dyeing my hair blue. Because isn't that what you're supposed to do when you get old? Although, man, I'm approaching 60 and I still got tons of color. Thank the Lord. For now, at least. It'll eventually, I'll be white and bald, right? I mean, I'll go white and then, we're going to be bald eventually. I mean, that's just kind of part of the game. That's where we're all going. I'm just avoiding baldness just a little longer than some others. That's all. But eventually, it'll all be skin. What can I do? Alexander says, what matters is the Canes won versus Clemson, and you need to be more positive. Stop whining. Also, go to QAM. No, that'll never happen, bro. I'm not going to QAM. I have no interest in going to QAM. So you can stop with that. And you clearly don't understand this business. I'm doing the right thing. The people on QAM are all doing the wrong thing. They should all, if you can, leave and do your own. But it's better to have freedom, Alexander. Being under somebody's thumb, it's no good, my brother. No good. The poll question so far, 82% of you think we'll hit 35K today. Okay. We get more positive people on the chat board than you do on Twitter. Every time I ask a Bitcoin question, the negative one is the option that always wins, because 95% of the world is not into crypto. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things. By the way, somebody sent me in a Venmo. Very nice of you yesterday. And I appreciate it, because I think there's some of you out there that if you listen to me, you should be making money. But this gentleman was kind enough and honest enough. Ralph, thank you for the Venmo yesterday. He says, thank you, Big O. I made $2,000 after I listened to your Bitcoin recommendation yesterday. I met you for the second time at the auto show last month. Hope to see you again. Keep up the great show, and go Dolphins and Bitcoin. Because remember when I went to the auto show, and I told you, by the way, it was small compared to how it used to be, because I hadn't been there in a long time. I guess I met Ralph there. And so there you go. And by the way, if you ever see me out in the street, stop me. I have no problem. I'm not that person. I love talking to people, meeting people. that support our show and, may allow Sean and I to, make a living doing this and doing what we love, actually, because this is what Sean loves to do. This is what I love to do. And, we get to bring you guys perspective, insight, a hell of a lot more breaking news than everybody else. And so appreciate all of you out there, as always, for supporting us. And thank you, Ralph, for your Venmo. I appreciate you all out there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As always, those of you that have, I'll tell you what, those of you that have stuck through this bear market, and we continue to talk about it, like Lisa Rose, I know, is in there. I know she has got diamond hands. Brooklyn Rob, that watches this a lot. So certain people that I associate with more than just the show, and I know them a little bit more, and I know that they're heavily into it like I am. Those of us that have stayed with the diamond hands and continued to buy the dip, you're going to end up really benefiting here in the next 2 years, because that's what this run is going to be. It's going to be up until 2025. While the beauty of the bear market, by the way, and then the bull run, especially on the crypto side, so just to kind of fill you guys in, the bull run's kind of started now, right? It's just like a little inkling of the bull run that you got right now. This is nothing compared to what's coming. So you got to hang in there again. Stay strong, because it's bigger profits are coming, and then you can really start to, take profits. But you waited so long through this entire bear market. You had a pandemic. You had a recession. I don't care what the government tells you, dude. We've been in a recession for well over a year. Okay? They lie to you and all that. They adjust the inflation numbers and all those inflation numbers that they give you and everything. Those are completely off. It's higher than what it is. But whatever. They changed the formula. That's another story that we would have to get into. And most of you get really bored and you don't care and you don't worry about it, but it really affects the hell out of us. But those of you that stood strong, this crypto bull run will last long, okay? Because it's starting now, but kind of started in September, actually, because we had an up month in September, and now we're having an explosive month in October. But it'll, in April, when the halving starts, and then half of what's produced now in Bitcoin is now, being produced, which is half of what it normally is, and the demand is going to go up, which of course will skyrocket the price. Well, once we hit April, then the real bull run starts, and then it'll probably go into 2025. But then at some point in 2025, watch out, if you got to get off that gravy train, and you had to have sold and made your profits and take it out, because then we will have a dip after that. And then we will go into another bear market for I don't know how long. But, obviously that'll be the first year after the halving. So we'll be 3 more years till the halving. So we will have some kind of a dip, which will then give you an opportunity to get in again in some areas where you can then make money again. And we'll get to that when we get to that at that point. And then we'll know what to do, then. But that's the beauty of it, that while you've waited for a long time, you will be in a long bull run. Okay? That's for sure. On the crypto side. Okay? On the crypto side. Let's see. This is Howie DeWitt. Or DeWitt. I'm sorry. Howie DeWitt. I have decided to grace the show with my presence, and please acknowledge. Thank you, says True Fin Fan. Andy Jackson says crypto greed meter is at 71, should hit 35 by the end of the week. It could be today. Could be today. When I saw the ARK and BlackRock relist, that tells me that this thing is right around the corner. And I think people I think there's a lot of smart people right now that are getting in on Bitcoin, because they know that once BlackRock and and ARK Investments and T. Rowe Price and Fidelity and all these ETFs are approved. Wham. They all have to buy billions in Bitcoins in order to run their ETFs. So, I mean, telling you folks, it's going to. So that's why I think that just on the news, that once people find out that it's been relisted, they're going to look at it and they're going to go, I think I need to dip in here and get some Bitcoin before it starts getting completely out of control. Because, the average person, you all that watch this show, information-wise, you're no longer average, because I've been talking about this for years now. So you should be well informed about what's going on, and it's happening. I've been telling you that it's going to happen, and it's happening. So, but the people that don't follow this show and don't follow crypto or whatever, they'll start getting into Bitcoin when we're at 60, 70, and 100,000, right? Meanwhile, if you watch this show I've been telling you about, and you should have gotten in on 16.5, okay? And you're 100% up. You're over 100% up, because we're at 34,000. So you're way over 100. You're like at 107% or something stupid, So, I mean, what asset class would have made you 107% from January 1st till right now? None. There isn't one. No asset class has run this way. So, just going to be interesting. We'll see how the day develops. So it should be fun. Let's see. Andy Jackson, Drago, Nico Jones, Willie is in Colombia. Remember, I always love put where you're coming from, or where you're listening from, and all that. Always love to see where you're at anywhere in the world watching the show. James Vivinetti and Papa, Michael Lombardo. Big O, take 19 against Miami, no brainer. Exactly, isn't it? I saw that line and I'm like, who the hell are the Canes to give an ACC team 19 points, who just beat North Carolina? I don't understand that. No Doubt says, my mother-in-law dyed her hair blue. There you go. Although nowadays, that's not really an old thing, right? Because now they're dyeing their hair. In fact, we went yesterday, we were at the Falls, and went to this really cool store. It's called like Earthbound or something like that. Got a couple of shirts, actually. But there was one lady taking care of my wife, and it might have been, no, I don't think it was Bed Bath. It was somewhere else, and she had like purple hair, and with I think it might have been actually a couple lines of like an aqua blue. Like, wow, it's really looking blue there. I wonder if it's that screen is going bad. Could that be it? No, but that wouldn't be the camera, because the camera's up here. I don't know. It's weird.
It's something with the lighting. I don't know which one it is, though.
Yeah, something's going on. That's for damn sure. Jonathan Jensen says, Tom Curran seriously thinks Mac Jones is better than Tua. Is he just being, it's just, maybe he, just wants to be Mr. Homer, or he just doesn't. Listen, bro, people thought that Ryan Tannehill turned the corner in Tennessee because he was putting up some numbers, and sometimes people mistaken numbers for actually even somebody arriving. And that happened with Tannehill. I used to get the texts all the time in DMs. Oh, you see what Tannehill, you're wrong about Tannehill, this and that. And they disappeared completely. So it's just one of those things. Remember, I told you about Lamar, right? He had that game this week. And if you really watched it, none of the passes were anything special. But now they're like, oh, man, MVP, this, that. Because I told you, he'll come up with a couple of those games a year, and he'll hook, line, and sinker. So it's just one of those deals, bro. So Tom Curran just doesn't see Mac Jones for what he is. That's all. And he's wrong. Happens a lot. We're all wrong at times. And in this case, Tom is dead wrong. Lenny Pena is in from Port St. Lucie.
Could be in your area soon, Lenny. So we might be doing a show somewhere in your area. Let's see. Just for Men is a revelation above and below the equator. LOL, says Brian. Okay. Good to know. Big O, will you wear a werewolf mask for Halloween with a furry thong? I think that's a pretty good costume right there. Let's do it. That sounds good. Marcus Shabbat says, hear me out, Big O. If Claypool package works, we'll put our offense on another tier. Big if. But I'll bet my collector's Uwe von Schamann jersey on it. Young fans don't have any humor for Uwe von Schamann because they have no idea what it is, right? They think we're talking about some German butler in a movie or something, you know. But that was a good one. That was a good one. I don't know, but the Claypool stuff, you couldn't squeeze them in 2 weeks for a package, couple plays. Like, you know, only these 4 or 5 routes and this package here, and that's it. That not a good vibe on that one. I got to admit. I have to admit. You're playing Philadelphia, a little jump ball, a little alley-oop. Why not? What's the deal? I don't get that. You have an incredibly accurate quarterback who can alley-oop his ass. Don't get that one. How did you not trust him for just a small package there? That's kind of weird. Karoon says, it's so cool YouTube added survey features into the live chat. I remember asking about it a year or two ago. Yeah, once in a while, they get something right. 77% right now say Bitcoin will hit 35,000 today. Big O, I hate the Patriots. John, I'm with you. I hate the Patriots, Bills, and Jets. So I'm with you, brother. That's kind of the way we do things. We hate everything. The Joe Rose Show with Orlando Alzigari on WQAM mornings. No shot. One, Joe is fine with what he's doing. He doesn't need my help. Never has, never will. Okay. Two, I don't play sidekick to anybody. Little insight. They called me from QAM while I was at 640. 3 times to go back to QAM. The third time I finally went back. But the first time they called me was Michael Irving was there. And, you know, Michael Irving is a fucking disaster on the air. He is just an absolutely terrible talk show host. All you want Michael Irving for is to bring him on for one football segment for 10 minutes, 12, 15 minutes. That's it. That's how you can kind of deal with Michael Irving. If you got to put his ass on for 2 or 3 hours, you're a dumbass because he is too lazy, doesn't know enough, doesn't follow all of sports, can't be a real talk show host. You know what I'm saying? And it's obvious. Plus, he can't even read a live spot, which is, you know, pretty bad. And he had a sidekick that was Kevin Kiley that sounded just like he had one of the worst voices I've ever heard on air. So it was a terrible show. So they called me, and obviously we have no problem reading live spots and, you know, actually putting sentences together and actually following all of sports and things like that. Things that, you know, Mike Irvin would never do because he's not really from this town. He was just born in Fort Lauderdale. He's moved out of here. He's not really a South Floridian, by the way. You know what I mean? He was born here, but he left. He's not really one of us. He's just born here. You know, that's the problem. Went to the U. Okay, great. That's it. But he doesn't really live and eat and breathe South Florida like I do, or like most of you do. So they called me and they said, would you be interested in being, you know, Michael Irving's sidekick? Or it would be Michael Irvin and the Big O. And I'm like, no. I said, no. I go, why would I be the sidekick when I forgot more sports than that guy will ever know? Why would I do that? I told him. I get it. You guys need, sponsors and you need live spots, and you got a guy that's barely there and really doesn't do anything locally for you and is doing most of the shows from somewhere else and has no real connection to South Florida. It's just a whole UM thing. He's my favorite UM player of all time, by the way. Just so you know, I can compartmentalize. I can tell you Mike Irvin's my favorite player, and I can also tell you he's terrible at radio. Terrible. And so imagine I would have to be a sidekick to a guy that can't hold my jock when it comes to sports. Yeah. I mean, most athletes can't even come close to what I know in sports. They might know a little more about their own sport, if they're a baseball player, basketball player, football player, a hockey player, whatever. But when it comes to being well-rounded, they know nothing. You know what I mean? You take Michael Irvin out of football, what the fuck does he know? Doesn't know shit. He's not going to know the entire Heat history and Panther history and Marlin history and everything that's gone on in this town, inside and out, Inter Miami, Miami FC, you name it, whatever. I'm going to know all of that. He's not. I've lived it all for 50 years. You know what I mean? So there's a little thing, Alexander. I was one of them that they called me for, and I laughed them right off. I said, no, I'm fine here at 640. I'll see you guys later. And, that was one of the first 3 calls that I got to go back to QAM. And then finally I went back and I had to go back in a way because 640 was headed for Chapter 11. And then that would be the final run because obviously once Beasley sold it to CBS had no intentions on building our station. They had all intentions on selling all of what they did, what CBS did was they went on a power run to collect stations to then resell them. So what they did was they collected stations like our station, QM and others, then they tore them down and they started firing people from within to streamline everything. Like Brandon Rodriguez, my producer, they fired. And I brought Brandon with me from 640. When I came over, I told them I'm not coming over if you don't give my producer a contract. Producers don't get contracts. They gave him a contract. Producers get salaries. I got him a contract. And so but they ended up firing him, which then weakened my show. And then after that they sold it to Intercom, which Intercom was they're now Odyssey, and they're, what's their stock? 30 cents, 20 cents, 15 cents. They're close to bankruptcy. I don't even know how they actually, I'm shocked they haven't filed for bankruptcy. So, a lot of you out there like Alexander, you don't really understand this business and you have no idea what goes on behind the scenes. Sean and I have more power than we've ever had. We have the most freedom we've ever had. We travel more than most normal, any show in town. We travel more than all the shows combined, actually. So, you got to look at what's actually going on. They're not in a good situation over there. Everybody's just working because they have to work. But they know that they're in a bad situation. Anybody that's smart over at QAM knows that eventually the shit's going to hit the fan and they're going to have to clean out even more people. It's coming. It's just one of those things. It's sad because good people are going to lose their jobs, like a lot of good people have lost their jobs. Eddie Lepp is in the house in St. Augustine. Love it. Great family man. David Pridham is in Sebastian Inlet, now based in Ottawa. Okay. Dolphins laying the smackdown this Sunday. Mac Jones may not survive, says Eric Storm. Finn Rule says, Big O, do you think Miami will make any moves before the trading deadline? I mean, bro, it's Chris Greer, so it's a possibility. What I don't think is it's going to be like a stud lineman, a stud linebacker, or anything, some kind of a role player I can see. I just don't expect it to be anything big. You know what I'm saying? So that's something I can see. Some safety depth, or maybe a linebacker that's not a stud, but a guy that maybe is a middling guy that can help you out a little bit, something. But I don't think it's anything going to be like really nasty, a frontline player on the O line or D line. I just don't think anybody's giving that up. I don't think a lot of people have extras. You know what I mean? So that's why. Jim Gleason says, Big O, Dolphins Patriots week. It's a beautiful thing. Mac Jones reminds me of Jake Cutler on his mannerisms. Okay. Big O, make sure you don't have anything with a magnet near the screen, such as a radio. Interesting. I don't, actually. I mean, nothing's changed. Everything that was here yesterday, last week, the week before, there's nothing different that I've brought on to the studio. That's a great one. The magnet stuff that's pretty good. Let me see, is this battery? No, nothing.
It's got to be one of the lights, because when you move certain areas, it goes lighter and darker. So it's got to be one of the.
Well, I put the light directly in front of me like that. I go like this. Then it gets darker now, right? I don't know.
You look clearer that way. You look less blue.
Hey, you know what? I wonder if it's the fan, because the fan is blue and the lights
right
off
now,
of the
turned all blue. Right now, when you slid in close, you turned all blue. When you're back, you're light. You're not as blue.
So I'm Gayle King. I'm blue by you. Let's see. With all due respect to Joe Rose, there's nobody in the world that gives us fans what this show with the Big O. None. Well, I'm a different show. Everybody's different, dude. You can go listen to Tobin, who does an excellent job. You know what I'm saying? You can go listen to Joe Rose, Hawk and Crowder. There's all kinds of shows, bro. And everybody is different. That's just kind of the way it is. Everybody has a different taste, a different way of doing their show. We're going to mix in sports with life and music and entertainment and politics and crypto and, all kinds of stuff that most of these shows cannot go to. Most of them have no balls to actually say anything about politics. None of them know anything about crypto. Most of them aren't going to go into life. Joe will do some of that. He'll have some fun with that. You know what I mean? But, man, everybody's different. And that's the beauty for you all out there. You can pick and choose to hear whatever the hell you want to hear, dude. And that's cool. And I respect that. I respect everybody doing their thing, man. Whether it's Dolphins Talk doing their thing, Omar and Poop, all these guys, man. I got love for all. I wish everybody, I hope they all do well. I got no bones to pick with anybody, dude. Now, sports bones, got plenty to pick. I'll have some fun with that, and I'll bust balls left and right. And I don't care who it is on radio, on podcasting, or YouTube, or whatever. That's a free-for-all, as Ted Nugent would say. But personally, I wish everybody the best, and it's great for you guys because now you get to pick and choose whoever the hell you want to watch and support and like and whatever, man. And I wish everybody the best. I know I'm extremely happy. I've been super happy for 3 years away from all this stuff. Well, actually, I can't say 3 years because for 2 years ago, I was still dealing with the onside stuff that I thought was going to be a good thing, but unfortunately, it turned out to be a lot of the same bullshit that I've dealt with in other places. And unfortunately, that didn't work out. But, it is what it is. It's how it goes. But this has been the most satisfying thing that I've done. And I will never, the only thing I told you I'd try would be just rock DJ. That's it. Only because that's a bucket list thing that I would like to do because I know that I could be good at it. But that's about it. Outside of that, I have zero interest ever going back to local radio at all. So, you know, QM has become nothing. Why would anyone go back there when they're having success on YouTube platform? Exactly. Don't need it. Big O, what happened to the Hammer? He passed away, bro. He went to Vegas. He was living in Vegas for a while, and he passed away earlier this year, if I remember correctly. I think it hasn't been a year yet. Wait. You mean they wanted you to be a sidekick to Michael Irvin? Who thought about this? Well, I'm not going to get into the people and all that, but I did laugh at them. Like, seriously? Like, are you serious? Like, are you serious? No, yeah. And I go, you realize that Michael Irvin doesn't know jack shit compared to me, right? Like, are you kidding me? He's my fucking sidekick. You know, I can't play in the NFL. I can't play wide receiver in the NFL. I know this. I'm a good talk show host. I know my sports. I know South Florida sports better than probably almost anyone that's ever done this here in South Florida. And I can be cocky, confident, arrogant about it because I prove it all the damn time over and over again. Who the fuck is Michael Irvin? He's a player. But doing this job, he ain't shit, dude. He's a joke. He's an interview. Tons of people can't do this, bro. Michael Irvin's one of them that cannot do this because he doesn't have to. He's made his money. He makes it the easy way on television there. That's it. He's made his money as a player, made his name so he can go analyze football plays. That's it. He can't do a talk show. There's no fucking way, you know. The guy could barely put 3 sentences together to do a live spot. So it's amazing to me. When they approached me with that, it was hilarious. Big O, if Chase Young became available, would you trade for him? No, I would not, Edwin. I would not. Why would I trade for a sack of injuries? Why would I give anything up for that guy? No, not at all. If they release him and you want to sign him to the veteran minimum and give him some incentives, I'll do that with Chase Young. You don't trade for a guy that never plays. No, man, not at all. Let's see. I feel so bad for Tobin. I feel like he's had his own daily show on YouTube. He can have, yeah, he could. Tobin probably could go on his own on YouTube. And I don't know if he's on the business savvy side. I don't know about that part. But content-wise, he should have no problem whatsoever. The way he does things, he's a likable dude. But then it takes balls to go on your own, by the way. Okay? It takes balls. This is stuff that most people will not do. That's why I'm one of the few people that can actually do it or will do it or has the guts to do it. Being on your own is not an easy thing, dude. It's very hard. It's a lot easier said than done. But yeah. Big O, I don't think this time Greer will make any last-minute trades. I see all the good players they have on IR, and I don't see a whole lot of space from players anymore. You could be right, my brother. You could be right. Yep. Tua needs to know Claypool will always be where he's supposed to be, which takes time since Tua slices and dices, throwing to spaces. Yeah, but with a guy like that, you're not really throwing to a space. You're throwing to a spot in the air, basically. I have a problem that in 2 weeks they couldn't come up with a package that he runs only a couple of routes. That's kind of weird. Let's see. Big O, so my nephew was born on Friday, but the father is a Ravens fan. I need the Dolphins priest to baptism him and get the demon out. But good morning, O. Time for our defense to keep the momentum against the division rival. You know, I watched the game again yesterday. What if I tell you it wasn't that bad? If you look at it, it's a few plays. I know towards the end, when they got pushed around, it was kind of almost out of gas. But that game, if you really look at it, it was this is the weird thing about what I'm about to say. And again, this doesn't mean shit in the big picture, because moral victories don't mean anything. Like, we're all tired of them. We want to see them be, great, not good, right? Remember, that's the theme. But I got to tell you something. The fact that the defense actually didn't play that bad, and they helped out on offense, obviously, with a couple of short fields and gave them 10 points. Short field with the 3 points and then the pick six. If you get healthy and stay healthy and you play with the attitude you played last week, what you got to do is stay away from the mistakes and the turnovers, and it's a different game. When I watched it, I actually didn't feel as bad about the Dolphins. It sucked that they lost, and I never felt like I felt 3 weeks ago when I was furious, because that was just, But this one, if you rewatch it, there were some positive signs, and it's mostly coming from the defensive side, which is what I was worried most about. But actually, what we should be concerned about is the offense. But that's where you have all the talent and the speed. So if by some luck you could get somewhat healthy, it's really hard in this league, because when you bring back two, you lose two more. So, it's almost impossible to expect that. But if you could be a little better, a little healthier, if you watch that game again, they actually weren't that bad. And it's really about Mike McDaniel, which is a theme we've talked about, that when they get punched in the mouth, they haven't responded as well. That's where Mike McDaniel has got to get it. And he hasn't. And that's one of the areas that he needs. Truly. He's got to do a better job of adjusting on the fly. But if you look at it, the game wasn't that bad. It's just that the loss sucked. That's for sure. It's the only way to look at it. That game could have been different. Holding on Tyreek, 7 points. Face mask now called on Cedric Wilson would have put the ball in field goal range or touchdown. 3 to 7 points. Yeah. Tyreek dropping a touchdown. Yeah. Yep. The interception by Tua. That was not a good pass, not a good decision. Forget about the route running. That was bad too. But it was not a good decision for him to throw that one. When you rewatch it, it's not nearly as bad as you think it is. There are some hopeful signs from it, actually. So we'll see. Plenty of time left, man. They can correct stuff, but you got to start winning those big games. And right now, it doesn't look like you're going to beat Kansas City, and it doesn't look like you're going to beat the Bills because you haven't won those first two games, right? So time to prove people wrong. Let's see if you can do it. Patriots this week, 9.5 points, down from 10.5 initially, right? Yeah, 10.5 on Monday. 9.5 yesterday, 9.5 today. Already. Crazy stuff. Chase Winovich retires, by the way, for the Miami Dolphins at age 28. Played for the Patriots for 3 years. Led them in sacks 1 year with 5.5 sacks. Led. Wow. Pretty cool, by the way, for Chase. I'll say this. Not a guy that really was much of an impact player here whatsoever. But one of the things that stood out to me was his goodbye letter. Because his goodbye letter is something for all of us, to be quite honest. And it says, the time has come for me to serve the universe in other ways. I consider myself beyond blessed and deeply grateful to have had the opportunity to play the game I love in front of so many and on some of the world's biggest stages. To quote my friend Matthew Slater, we all owe football something, and I certainly do. So he leaves football at the age of 28. Bounced around the league a little bit after being released by the Patriots. But you know why Chase Winovich is a winner? He chased his dream. He realized his dream. He maximized his dream, no matter what it is. I don't care if you want to be a professional skateboarder and you only do it for 6 months or 6 years or 16 years or 60 years like Hawk. I don't know how long he's done it, but it seems like it's 60 years. And or if you're a teacher, or if you're a lawyer, or if you're a professional football player, or if you want to be an accountant, or if you want to be in a sales, whatever your dream is, and there's nothing wrong with whatever your dream is. And if you want to be a chef, but chase it. Because the last thing you ever want to do is leave that regret. What if I would have tried it? Would I have made it? Would I have been good at it? Would I have been able to experience it? Was Chase Winovich the best linebacker in the NFL? No, he didn't have to be. He wanted to get to the ultimate level, which is the pros. He did something that you and I could never do, right? And there's a lot of you out there right now that are doing things that Chase Winovich would never be able to do either. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like what I was talking about with Michael Irvin, like he could never be a talk show host. So I think this is a man that gets to walk away with pure satisfaction. And I think it's a great example for all of us. Chase it, man. You don't know how it's going to end. It might not be great, and it might be just fantastic. And if it's not good, you got closure. What if I leave radio, okay? I get fired from QAM, right? With a smile. I've told you the story many times because I knew I was doing this. But let's say I wanted to do this, and, me and my best friend, Bill Preston, we start this, and it fails. And I can't do it on my own. And I thought, hey, man, who needs a TV signal already? It's all internet now. It's all phones. It's all smartphones, smart cars. People can watch you, listen to you wherever they're at now. Doesn't matter anymore. You don't need a radio antenna. So let me go do this. What if I could not do it? What if I couldn't last 6 months? At least I tried it. At least I tried it. And then I said, okay, well then closure, let's move on to a new profession. Because I knew once I walked out of QAM, I never, ever wanted to go back to traditional radio ever again. I knew it was dying, and I knew that this was the thing to do. So it's what I wanted to do. It was my plan. But what if I failed? What if I couldn't get it done? Well, then I move on. But at least I have that closure. I went for it. We're 3 years in now. Been to Vegas 3 times. Deal with Showtime, which now it ends because Showtime, unfortunately, is getting out of boxing. But, we go to the Combine, we go to the Senior Bowl, we do all the things that I've always done and even more now. Slowman's, we go out to New York to do our show out there in their home offices. We're at Slattery's, a Dolphins bar in New York, a Dolphins bar in Vegas that we broadcasted from now 4 times, 3 for the draft and 1, a couple weeks ago. These are things that we're doing that I would have never done on radio. And we've built up an audience. We've built up a core of people. We've got people subscribed, following us on Twitter, following us on audio, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. So it's freaking awesome for Sean and myself that we're able to do this. We're able to realize our dream, and we at least have closure on it. Hey, that we're able to do this. And that's why Chase is a great example for all of us. Whatever your dream is, dude, chase it. Chase Winovich. Chase Winovich it. Do what Winovich did. Chase it. And whether you succeed or fail, it's all closure for you. The worst thing you ever want to have is what if I did it? And maybe I would have been successful. Maybe I wouldn't. Maybe, what if I walk out of QAM and I go into a completely different business? And then I said, man, what if I would have tried that YouTube thing? Would it have worked? I remember when I first started, there were a couple people on QAM taking shots because I would listen. Oh, yeah, no, I saw him on Twitter and all that, and it was kind of like smirky. That's all right. It's all good. But we've had the last laugh. So you got to chase it, man, no matter what it is. Don't ever let people bring you down. That you can't. Look at all the Bitcoin haters over the years that would go after me. Where are they now? Where are they now? And I didn't flinch, because I believed, I had conviction in what I wanted to do. Conviction, confidence, drive, determination. If you don't have that in life, if you don't have that in life, you will be this. Here's a college graduate who is starting her 9 to 5 now. Let's see.
Oh, I don't think the audio's coming through for her. I thought it was maybe just me, but now I'm seeing more people saying no audio.
Okay, so it's not coming through.
Yeah, the video never started. I don't know if the video is supposed to move or not, but
it's playing now.
No, I see you reacting to it. That was the odd thing. But then I thought nobody else was saying anything in the chat, so I stayed quiet until somebody said no audio. So then I was like, okay, it's not just me.
I can't. You guys weren't hearing this. That sucks. Anyway, so it's this millennial chick, or she's probably a Gen Z, actually. So she's complaining that she wakes up at 6:30, takes the train at 7:30, is back at 6 to her house, and that this 9 to 5 life, and that she has no time for this, no time to go out, and she's all stressed out. And it's just like we have this soft ass world. And you watch that girl, and it is just absolutely hilarious, because I'm sitting there going, you know, that there were dudes that were like slaving away building train tracks in our country for 100 years. And, you know, there were people that were building bridges and tunnels and exploding mountains. And, you know, like they did like some serious ass work, you know, to build the Capitol and to do all kinds of, and you're worried about your little subway trip, and that you've got to work from 7:30 to 6 like the rest of the world. And most of us that, you know, like myself, that you've been at the grind for like 40 years now, and you, this little girl, has been working for 6 months, and you're broken already. It's just, it's a hilarious video. It's hilarious on how soft this world is, and how soft this new generation that we have nowadays is, because it is a soft ass generation, dude. I mean, it is a funny video. You got to check it out. I don't know if you can find it or whatever, but it is, you know what? I should maybe post it on my Twitter page later. I'm sorry that you guys couldn't hear the video. I don't know.
Apparently some people were able to hear it. They said it was going in and out. Some were out. So it wasn't everybody wasn't able to hear it. It's just some of us, I guess.
You know what? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to send you the link, since you're the technical guy and I'm the shithead here that doesn't know any of this crap. I'm going to send you the link and see if you can bring it up for them. You have it now. And see if you can play the video, because I know some of you are going to say, oh my God, this is somebody I know. Okay? Yeah, that's exactly what you're going to say. You're going to go, oh my God, this is this person. This is this kid that's across the street from me. This is this person's child. Or some of you might say, that's my child. Oh, man. By the way, Matt Verderam will join us here at the top of the hour. Joe Shad will join us at 11:40. Have that girl do some concrete form work and get up at 3:30. Exactly, right? I mean, dude, you got to hear it. You got to hear her just whine and complain. It is just, yeah, Resolute Graphics says 9 to 5. I wish it was only 9 to 5. So, hey, Sean, don't you wish we were only 9 to 5? It's like, for us to run and do what we do, we don't stop. We don't stop. But it's part of the game. You think I want to be on Saturday night and then be on Sunday morning, or be on late at Sunday night, and then wake up Sunday morning? No, but that's part of the job. It's a job. Guess what? We all need them. Oh, so you have it? All right, go ahead, fire away, because this is just absolutely, you're awesome.
I know I'm probably just being so dramatic and annoying, but this is my first job, like my first 9 to 5 job after college, and I'm in person, and I'm commuting in the city, and it takes me fucking forever to get there. There's no way I'm going to be able to afford living in the city right now, so that's off the table. Like, fucking duh! If I was able to walk to work, and it'd be fine, but I'm not. So it literally takes me, like, I leave here, like, I get on the train at 7:30, and I don't get home till, like, 6:15 earliest, and then, like, I don't have time to do anything. I want to shower, eat my dinner, and go to sleep. I don't have time or energy to cook my dinner either. Like, I don't have energy to work out. Like, that's out the window. Like, I'm so upset. Oh my God. Nothing to do with my job at all, but just like the 9 to 5 schedule in general is crazy. Being in the office 9 to 5, like if it was remote, you get off at 5 and you're home and everything's fine. But like I'm not home. It takes me long to get home, and like people that drive to the office, like you don't get off at 5. And I know it could be worse. I know I could be working longer, but like I literally get off, it's pitch black. Like I don't have energy. How do you have friends? Like how do you have time to like meet like a guy? I don't know. Like how do you have time for like dating? Like I don't have time for anything, and I'm like so stressed out. And I'm also getting my period, so that's why I'm all emotional. But like, am I so dramatic? It's fine.
That's what we're raising in this country. Her first 9 to 5 job, and she's freaking out. They have no idea what it's like to grind. You know, it's like I got a friend of mine, right? And his son got a new job. And so my friend is like, he's tough on his kids, right? He tries to be, at least. But the kid is like she is, you know, kind of, you know, but dad, this, that. And I go to him, I go, how long you been working? He goes, 6 months. I go, talk to me in 6 years or 16 years from now. And then, you know, when you've kept up the grind for a while, then, you know, don't worry about it. And then his dad goes, exactly. Wait till you're actually working for a long time. You haven't done anything yet. And that girl's freaking out, bro. That's our society. That's our Generation Z. That's our millennials right there. Those people freak out. Again, take her back into time and watch those people build railroad tracks all across our country and build the Golden Gate Bridge, where like there's people that are dead inside the concrete inside the Golden Gate Bridge. Like people have like real jobs out there nowadays that, and she's got it like hilarious. All right. Hour number 2 is next. A man that never complains about how much he works. That is Matt Verderame from Sports Illustrated. He's next.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646. Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Hey, let's rock and roll. There he is, Matt Verderame. So, Matt, did you see the future there of our country?
Saw the video. I have a lot of thoughts, some of which I can't share publicly and keep my job. Um, I I am a millennial, and I'd love to be the guy who could push back and be like, "That's not true," but it's pretty true.
I think
Um,
she might be Gen Z.
oh, please, God, please let her be Gen Z.
She just graduated from college. It's her
Oh,
first
then
nine.
if she's that, then yeah, she's Gen Z.
Gen
Because
Z.
I came in the middle of that video. Yeah, I mean, I guess to me, no, look, everybody's situation is different. My dad worked construction for 40 years, and I sit in an air conditioned office and type about football. And I remember in the summers, so my dad at one point, well, for most of his career, owned his own business along with my uncle. And he was like, look, I was probably, God, it must have been 16, maybe 17. I was in high school. It was a summer. And so listen, why don't you come with me? I'll pay you $10 an hour and you can help me at this bowling alley. And I'm thinking, like, that's great. Bowling alley. I'm 16, 17. I'm like, maybe there'd be, girl there, hang out. We get there. It's 100 degrees outside. Like literally, it was in Jersey. It was in New Jersey. It may be like high 90s. And we had to go up in the attic because they did timber restoration work. So we had to go up into the attic and work on the beams. And you're working with heavy machinery. Like you can't dress in a t-shirt and gym shorts. It's 100 degrees. That's your problem. Like you're in Carhartt and boots and the whole deal. It must have been that attic been almost 120 degrees. I thought I was going to die. And there were guys up there in their like late 50s, heavier set, smoking cigarettes, like just like not even fazed by it. And I was a 17-year-old kid. I was probably a $190 at the time, some pretty good shit. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. And it taught me two things. One, those guys worked their asses off. And two, that's not for me. Like that was going to be a one-generation business because I looked at that. I'm like, I don't think so. And that was kind of the point my dad wanted to make. Like, you don't want any part of this. Go do something else. And, he was right.
By the way, she's a college grad, has her 9-to-5 job. Like, what you don't realize is you got it good, kid.
Yeah. How hard is your life? I mean, you work 40 hours a week. Yeah. So, I mean, you should be happy. A lot of people work a hell of a lot longer than 40 hours a week, and they don't have a college degree, and they're making half what you're making. Like, be happy, be thankful you have a job.
It really is. I saw that video. I was just laughing like, Jesus Christ, man. And you see them around. You see them. I mean, you go to the drive-through and they work with no emotion, no enthusiasm whatsoever, and it's like, they're just going through the motions, and you're like, damn, dude, it's crazy. All right.
The people who are the worst, though, real quick, are the people like, look, I understand if you're somebody, you're in a dead end job and like life has hardened you to a point where you're like, look, I'm just not going to get ahead. And that sucks. And I feel for those people. The people that piss me off to no end are the people who are in a really good spot and just complain about it nonstop. Just constantly are like, well, I didn't make partner this year. Bro, you make $250,000. I don't care if you didn't make partner. And like, if you can't afford your mortgage, you're a moron. Get a house that you can afford. Like, those are the people that I can't listen to. When I met my wife, she's in medical field. She's a nurse practitioner. At the time, she was a floor nurse. And I remember we went to a Christmas party, and it felt like every guy that was there was dating one of her friends, another nurse. They were like an accountant. They were a lawyer. And they were all just so miserable in their jobs. I'm like, you know how much money you make? I mean, at the time, I wasn't even cracking 50 grand. I was still starting out in the industry. I was like, you're complaining about a job. You all have BMWs outside. You all have these high-rise condos in Chicago, and you're complaining because you had to work till 5. Like it was just stunning to me.
Yeah. That's the kind of shit that goes on, man. And it's just hilarious. As somebody put it there, it's like, oh my God, we're doomed.
It's not good.
It's just these are the people that are going to take over. They must be the same people that are running the house right now and can't find a speaker. It must be the same thing. All right, so apparently, the magical healing powers of Aaron Rodgers aren't really working as quick as he thought they would, huh? So apparently he got on he got on his show there and started saying, yeah, things aren't going as well with my Achilles. Shocker. Aaron Rodgers may not return this season.
Yeah, he's not going to return this season. I feel pretty confident in just going ahead with that one. Like, look,
breaking news.
I'm not a doctor. Okay, I'll leave the medical stuff to my wife. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that he doesn't heal twice as fast as any other human being who's ever walked the face of the earth. I think, like, I believe in the power of thought, but I could think that I'm going to buy a mansion tomorrow all I want. Yeah, I'm not going to buy a mansion tomorrow. Like, that's just not going to happen. And you'll look at him and you're like, Aaron, I get you want to be out there. And I respect that. I respect that he's working really hard to get back and everything else. And that's great. But you're not going to heal that much faster than anybody else. You may heal a little faster. You may heal, shave a couple of weeks off, maybe even a month, something like that. You're not going to heal 3-4 months faster than any other human being. And again, we talked about it last week. If I'm the Jets, I'm like, hey, man, listen, we'd love to have you back, but unless medical professionals are clearing you, you're not coming back, because I can't have you back on your word and then you blow your Achilles out again because you're nowhere near ready to play an NFL football game. Like, I laugh at these people I keep seeing are like, well, look at him. Look at the way he's walking. It's like, that's walking. That's not an NFL football game. Like, great. God bless him, but it's not. He's not going to be walking on the field when, Bradley Chubb is ripping around the corner. Like, he's not. He's got to be able to run and cut and move and plant and drive and throw. So yeah, I think I think there's a very high likelihood we're not seeing him again until next year.
It makes no sense whatsoever. It's just Achilles take a long time to heal, dude. And even when you come back, you're not even who you were at that point. It takes a while to kind of get the same maybe you don't even get the same flexibility. And that's so a 40-year-old guy behind a bad offensive line that just got worse because their best offensive lineman is now out for the year. So, you're hurrying up to come back to that. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. In fact, if I'm the Jets, I am actually telling him, no, we're not hurrying. We need you for next year, because all you're going to do is re-injure it, and then you're definitely going to miss all of next season. You're already probably going to not even be 100% by the time camp rolls around, actually. I think that's what he doesn't realize. I don't think he's going to be 100% even during that season next year. It's going to take him a while. As you get older, bro, coming back from these things, it's a hell of a lot harder, man.
Of course. I mean, look, realistically speaking, that is as bad an injury, other than something, catastrophic that's really rare, you can have. I mean, that is an injury, because it's not just your Achilles. I mean, it is in the sense of that is the body part that's injured, but you need to build up your calf muscle. You need to build up everything else around it. It's not like when you break a bone and the bone heals and then you're just ready to go back out there. Like, that is an injury that is going to require a lot of physical therapy, a lot of strength training, a lot of rehab to get back out there. This isn't like Joe Blow at the Y, who blew his Achilles out and he can go out there and kind of, gingerly jog up and down the court. It's not that. So yes, I think I commend him for trying his best to get back out there. But realistically, I would be stunned. I mean, if they got the Super Bowl or something, which they're not going to do without him, like, then yeah, maybe, but they're not going to the Super Bowl without him. So what are we talking about? What are we doing?
I'm with you there. All right. What's the point of view on the Dolphins from an outsider's point of view? Because they're a good team, but they can't beat the elite. So you tell me what. Although this week I thought they actually played better defense than I expected them. Hell, the defense provided 10 of their 17 points.
Yes, they did.
So I thought it was the offense that really failed them. That's been my knock, actually, more, because I was kind of surprised with the defense. I rewatched the game yesterday, and it's actually closer than what I thought it was. It's the offense for me, my issue, because you didn't respond against the Chargers last year and the Niners when they stifled you. You had to be a year later when you responded to the Chargers. You didn't respond to the Bills when they stifled you this year. and then these guys did too, and the offense didn't get going. It's weird, but I'm actually going to be a little bit more critical of McDaniel and the offense than I am of the Dolphins' physicality on defense.
Oh, I don't think there's any question. I mean, the Eagles at 355 yards of offense, which is not a meager number, but it's not huge. I mean, today's NFL teams go over 400 all the time, especially really good ones. The reality is the Dolphins' defense did enough to keep them in the game. And to your point, they scored 10 points essentially, and they did score 7. The Dolphins had 12 first downs and 244 yards of offense. Like, you're not beating anybody who's halfway decent playing like that. You're not beating a lot of bad teams with an output like that.
Right.
I don't know how Dolphins fans will feel about this. Maybe they'll agree. Maybe they'll push back. My biggest concern with Miami right now, and it's probably my only real big concern, is against Buffalo and against Philadelphia, the two teams that they've played this year that are of note. They have been physically bullied when they're on offense in these games. That is the concern, because when you play in the playoffs, and God knows Dolphins will be there, no question. But like when they go and they play Buffalo or Cincinnati, should they get right, or Baltimore or Kansas City, those teams are going to say, like, look, you're not just going to have a laser show all over the field. Like, we're going to push back. And I think that's where the Dolphins, at some point, you can be defined by your speed. They should be. They're the fastest team in modern NFL history by every metric you look at. But there has to be at least a somewhat physical presence to go along with it. They don't have to be a physical team necessarily that is defined by that. But you can't get bullied. And in that game against Philadelphia up front just bullied the absolute crap out of Miami in that game. Basically just said, look, you're not running the ball. We're going to constantly be in the back. And I get there's injuries. I understand all that. But like, that was the same problem with Buffalo. Buffalo just physically just said, we're going to run you over in this game. Beat us. And the Dolphins have to have an answer for that. They don't have to be unbelievably physical, but they've got to have some physicality to their game. Or against these really good teams, especially when the weather gets colder, it just becomes almost impossible to beat them, because those teams are going to physically come after you.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I don't know. Listen, the problem is, well, hey, we'll get Connor back. We'll get Armstead back. Right. This is the NFL, bro. You'll get 2 guys back, and then you'll lose 2 more. You know, it's so, you know, I know that we're all hoping that they get healthy and then they're a different team, but it's like, how long do you stay healthy in this league? Because you just, everybody seems, it's not a Dolphin thing. It's an NFL thing. You just keep losing.
Everywhere. It's everywhere. The Bills are missing a bunch of guys. The Ravens were missing a bunch of guys earlier in the year. I mean, Nick Bolton's out for 2 months in Kansas City. Okay. I mean, Kelsey got hurt earlier in the year. You're granted short term, but like, look, the NFL is a war of attrition. It just is. Like, that is the league. Now, I will say this on the other side of the coin. I have seen some people speculate, well, the Dolphins, you know, this is who they are. They can't be good teams. I don't believe that necessarily. Like, you're 5-2, and it would be one thing if the Dolphins are squeaking by in these other games. They're annihilating these bad teams. Like, and that's what really good teams do. Okay. They kill them. They beat these bad teams. I think the Dolphins are capable of it. I also think the Dolphins have to learn how to do it. And that's something that every team goes through. Every single team goes through that. Okay. Obviously, everybody here knows.
You don't go from mediocre to elite.
You don't. You learn how to win those games.
You kind of progressions. And the progression now is you're dominating the average and mediocre teams better than you ever have. But, and at least this, when I watched it again yesterday, it was like, dude, it wasn't that bad, actually, the loss. And I was actually impressed with the defense, which is something that I really needed. So now I think you're getting closer. What I like also, you got a smart coach, bro.
He's a good coach.
He'll figure it out. But he's also, we also got to be honest, he's in his second year. He's halfway through his second year.
Yes.
Is he supposed to be a finished product? No. So, you know, we also got to give the man some time to kind of grow into this position.
I think, too, you have to understand. And look, I picked the Eagles in a close game for SI this week because my thought process was the Eagles have been in a million games like this. They know how to win games like this.
Right.
Like, it's a weird thing to say, but when Baker scored that touchdown, it was 17-17. In my head during the TV timeout, I thought to myself, you know what? this is where Philadelphia is going to take the ball. They're going to simplify their game, and they're just going to go right down the field because they're physical and they know what to do, and they're not going to panic. Like, I think if Baker had done that against a lesser team or a team that didn't have the experience, that team might have folded. That might have been the spot whereas I think Philadelphia was like, okay, this is where we got to dig in and we got to go after it. Like, and that's how it goes now. And I think there is a level of, look, this idea that the Dolphins should be worried, I don't think they should be worried. Like they're worried. I expect them to be this year. It's just a really good team that's learning how to win. Most teams don't just go up and become the 99 Rams, who are awful for 10 years, and then just all of a sudden just kill everybody and win the Super Bowl. Like that is a learned thing. The Dolphins have to go win this week and sweep New England, which they ought to. And then you go to Germany and you get another shot. You go play the Chiefs and you give that a shot. Look, Miami could win that game. It's a neutral site game. Ramsey very well might be back for that game. Like, that's a game. Go out there and win. Go out there and find a way. Or even, look, even again, even if they were to lose, but it's a tight game and it's nip and tuck, get better at those games. But look, as bad as it feels to lose, that Eagles game was a hell of a lot closer than that Bills game.
So I'm telling you, in a weird way, dude, I rewatched it last night. I kind of felt better about the team after. Yeah. I was like, man, it wasn't as bad. It just sucks that they didn't beat the elite team, which is what we all want to see them take that next step. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of where they're at right now. They're right in the middle of that. So I'm with that.
You went from a disaster in Buffalo to a competitive game in Philadelphia. Now you play Kansas City in another week. Like, either win that game or get it closer. Maybe it's a field goal game. It takes time. It takes time. The Dolphins are beat up. That also is a reality. So, like, look, but here's the good news. The Bills turned Mac Jones into Joe Montana. And so the Dolphins are still a game up in the division. And they've already played the game at Buffalo. Obviously, they play them at home week 18, which who knows, could be for nothing, could be for the whole thing. Like, if Miami's schedule, by the way, going forward is not all that difficult. Where Buffalo's schedule is brutal. I mean, Buffalo still has to play Philly. I know both teams still have Dallas and Kansas City. But the Bills have that first place schedule looming over them. They got to go to Cincinnati. Miami gets Baltimore. You could say, maybe that's a tough game for Miami. Maybe it's not.
It is. No, it's a tough game because they'll get physical with them. So
it's a tough game, but I'm just saying, is it tougher than at Cincinnati? It depends how healthy Cincinnati is.
I fear the quarterback a lot more there.
Yeah. So, I mean, my point is, like, the Dolphins have some hard games, but their schedule is not crazy either. Like, Miami's going to win, 12 plus games. It's going to happen. And it's all about getting right by January, where you go to the playoffs and maybe have a home game or two, and you say, hey, look, you know what? Let's go out. And by the way, if they beat New England and they beat Kansas City, they're the 1 seed. Like, go out and handle business next couple of weeks. Things will be fine.
Well, speaking of your team, top of the league, bro. Andy Reid once again. And by the way, this is like shuffling wide receivers while you're doing all of this. You know what I mean? It's not like it's almost like, is there a consistent person that you can count on at wide receiver? You know what I mean? They just got back Mecole Hardman, which Mecole will probably play a lot better there than where he was. It's just one of those deals because you have that dude behind the center. But it's not – this is his worst receiving core, right, since he's been in KC?
Yeah, I think it probably is. I mean, look, they have this kid, Rashee Rice, who's a second-round pick out of SMU, who week by week is getting – better and better. Like, he reminds me of Juju, except he's more explosive than Juju Smith-Schuster. So, I mean, it sounds weird in Andy Reid's offense because Andy doesn't like to play rookies. Like, he's their number one receiver, and he's becoming a real factor in the offense. But yeah, I mean, right now it's Kelsey and it's Rice, and then they have Pacheco and McKinnon in the backfield, and then it's like, all right, everybody else is kind of complimentary. Is it Hardman? Is it Marcus Valdez-Scantling? And yet, with all that being said,
it seems like it's just like around Kelsey, all of it. It's just a carousel of receivers, which again shows the greatness of Reid and Mahomes, dude.
Well, it's crazy. Like Mahomes, which I'll be the first to admit this. I couldn't believe this. Mahomes is second in the league in passing yards, only to Tua, right? I think he's like 70 yards behind him. Tied for first in touchdown passes, and he's on pace for 4,900 passing yards. And he's been throwing to like Justin Watson and Sky Moore all year long. It's insane. And it's not even like he's thrown a million times either. Like, he's averaging almost 8 yards an attempt. And by the way, I will say though, not taking any away from Kansas City, the Chargers. I don't think I've ever seen a worse coach in my life. Like I really, other than like the all-time guys like an Urban Meyer or Hackett, but like in terms of guys who have had multiple seasons with a team, they play the Chiefs twice every year, and they went into that game and basically didn't know Travis Kelce existed. If you go watch his 12 catch performance, 10 of them he's wide open. There's not even one guy within the screen. Like there was a play in the game early. He caught a crossing route, and Asante Samuel Jr. was in coverage, and he dove and he missed. If it's like a 60-yard reception. If you look at the next 40 yards, there's literally not a Chargers player in the picture. And then like this poor safety comes over, and Kelce's completely out of gas, and he basically just shoves Kelce out like the 4-yard line. And they went on to score a touchdown. How Brendan Staley like just wasn't aware that Travis Kelce existed until he had 140 yards in the first half, I'll never know. But it is truly a gift that keeps on giving to the AFC West.
Yeah, and that's why I laid the 5.5 because I felt really good about that game. I thought for sure KC. Actually, if you look, one of the things I mentioned to folks and why I thought it was a good bargain taking KC and giving the 5.5, they win most of their games by more than that total, actually.
Yeah.
And they easily won that game by the 5.5. So that was impressive, man. It's just, yeah. And by the way, we've talked about this before. The amazing part of Staley is that because your owner's so cheap, he's just not going to get rid of you with a bunch of years left on your contract. Now, maybe with the last year, I think he's going into his last year, right? Next year.
This year, I think you'll probably get rid of him after this.
Yeah, this year, because I think he has one more year left finally, and I think the cheapo will at least give up 1 year of salary. But if you have multiple years, bro, the Davises of the world and
they're not going to move off. They're not going to move off.
Yeah. Well, hell, the Davises of the world will then sue you back for some of the money.
Oh, counteraction. Yeah. I mean, it's like it's you look at that division and the Chargers and the Raiders, really. I mean, it like the Chiefs and Denver should chip in to make sure that they keep those coaches. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, I know we're not talking about this game. I don't know how many people even watched or paid attention to this. In Miami probably didn't care at all. The Raiders are in Chicago last weekend. Yeah. They're down 21-3 to Tyson Bagent because, of course, they are. And it's the fourth quarter. And McDaniels, earlier in the game, I think it was in the third, had gone for it on like 4th and goal from maybe like the 6, something like that. They don't get it. They get back down there. It's 4th and goal from the 4. It's 21-3 in the fourth quarter, and McDaniels kicked the field goal. Like, I mean, what is happening? Like, what is the justification to your team? Like, listen, we're going to kick here. And I know a lot of people are like, well, made it a 2-score game. Who cares? There's 8 minutes left. Like, you need a touchdown. You're 4 yards away.
My favorite part is the guy gets there and he alienates all his good players and he's, shipping them out and trading them like Renfro's next. And it's like, bro, how are you going to survive if you're just going to get rid of people that actually are some of the better players? And that's what they've been doing for the last couple of years, which is just absolutely baffling. By the way, since you live in Chicago, the Tyson Bagent kid, after he scores the touchdown and he's going to the crowd, like, let me hear it. Let me hear it. Like, I love that. I love the moxie the guy actually plays with. Well, his dad carries himself with a lot of moxie too, as it is. So it's kind of where the kid got it from. You know what I mean? It's a great story, actually. It's actually fantastic.
I'm pretty sure I remember this, and you were with me down there at the Senior Bowl. Isn't his father like an all-world like arm wrestler?
Yes.
Yes. Right. Yeah. I thought he was that kid. Look, you know what? You went from Shepherd to the NFL. You probably went from like 500 fans to 80,000. Live it up, man. And I got to tell you, they play Sunday night against the Chargers in SoFi. And I keep seeing these people like, oh, the Chargers are going to get right. Are they? Do we know they're going to get right?
Why would you say that? Yeah.
I got to tell you, this feels like the ultimate, like, hey, look at this. We just lost to Tyson Bagent at home. I mean, if there's a team that can figure out a way to give up 35 to Tyson Bagent and the Bears, I feel like the Chargers are right for being that team. So I am actually like kind of morbidly fascinated by that game.
And the Bears don't play like they're quitting or anything. Like they play hard.
They're playing hard.
They're playing hard. So no, that's a dangerous game for the Chargers. I would not be feeling confident about the Chargers. All right, what do you got going on SI so folks can check you out, my friend?
Yeah, weekly staples, the matchups to watch in every game, and the quarterback rankings that come out tomorrow. I did a breakdown of 3 big plays on the All-22 from this week that I went out today. Also this week, I talked to four different league sources about what can the Browns do with Deshaun Watson, because that is becoming an untenable situation, to say the least. And so I talked to people, GMs, personnel directors, you name it. What would you do if you were Andrew Berry? What can they do? And got one of my favorite quotes of all time that you'd have to read this. But it was very interesting, and I laid it all out there. And I don't think I'm spoiling it by saying it is not a great slew of options for the Browns. Let's put it that way.
No, I mean, give me a break. And by the way, if you're his trainer, bro, stay away from social media, you idiot. I mean, like,
and I saw that, bro. Just man, look,
like,
he is the
dude,
last guy in the world to be going out, and by he, I mean Watson. Like, you're going to really go out and defend Deshaun Watson, like fervently defend him. I know he's paying you. I get it. I'm not saying you have to attack him, but like, you're going to go after Brady Quinn and start like, it's enough. Just sit there and be happy you're getting paid, and it's fine.
And Brady Quinn's rebuttal was just
always, yeah.
It was all world. Okay,
Yeah,
so I got to give Brady a lot of credit. For those of you that did not see it and you don't know what we're talking about, the agent, Quincy Avery, said, Brady, I'll be real here. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And sit behind a microphone gossiping like a little high school girl, right? And you know, he was talking about everybody has medical opinions. It's clear Deshaun Watson, the situation almost similar to the kid getting $230 million trust fund. You ask them to get a job and they have no incentive to do it. So then Brady says, come talk to me anytime you want in person, open invitation. He says, I just seen you on Saturday. I don't have anything I want to talk to you about. I'm telling you, you are talking about things you don't know. Talking about another man who doesn't know you is weak. And then he says, LOL, well, I didn't see you. And he says, point being. And then Brady says, how about we massage this conversation and get it to a happy ending? Does this sound satisfactory? And then obviously Quincy Avery had no response after that. So if you hadn't seen it, there you go. Quincy Avery, my brother, shut the fuck up, dude. Like,
it's just, you're not going to win that battle.
Yeah, you look like a fucking clown. Shut up, dude. You have nothing. Don't defend what cannot be ever defended in Deshaun Watson, the person or the player, by the way.
Yeah, there's just, look, sometimes in life you have to know when you just have a losing hand.
Yes.
Quincy Avery might be the best guy in the world. I don't know him at all. Like, bro, you have a losing hand.
Yes.
You're not, like, there's no world where you're winning that battle, either in reality or in the court of public opinion. It's not going to happen. So, Brady Quinn was not going to back down and said what he had to say.
Yep, no doubt. All right, follow him on Twitter at Matt Verderame. Catch his work there at Sports Illustrated. Matt, as always, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you immensely.
You got it. Take care.
You got it. There you go. By the way, Perdomo Cigars, we could give the Arizona Diamondbacks could also give the Florida Panthers a winning cigar. Go ahead. 5150 Northwest 167th Street in Miami Gardens. Go check it out, baby. They've got a beautiful humidor there with all of the Perdomo cigars. Giant lounge there with like a 30-foot couch. You got a pool table, big giant TV to watch so you can hang out with the fellas, play pool, smoke a cigar. Hey, Nick Perdomo might be there. You can take a picture with the star himself. Nick, by the way, went to Vegas a couple weeks ago. About a week and a half ago or two, he went with his lovely wife, Janine, and they went to see U2 at the Sphere also because he went to experience that. He's a big U2 fan like I am. And so he was very, very impressed with the Sphere, like most of us that have been there. But by the way, you'll be impressed with the 30th anniversary, the 10th anniversary, the 20th anniversary, the Lot 23, the Immenso 70, the Fresco, the Double Age 12-year vintage. I mean, there are so many different cigars to choose from. Go to your nearest cigar lounge anywhere in the world and ask for it by name, Perdomo Cigars. And we've got Perdomo Cigar Lounges all across the country in Trustville, Alabama, the Trustville Cigar Company, D&D Company in Haram, Georgia, Club Humidor in Thousand Oaks, San Antonio, Almost Havana Cigar Lounge in Hurricane, West Virginia. Go check out those Perdomo lounges. Go to perdomocigars.com. All right. Watson just rubs people the wrong way. He does. He rubs them the wrong way. Finn's Rule liked it. Chad says he left Cater on an island without help against Diggs for 3 quarters, no adjustments made, gave up 30-plus to the Chargers. When Boyer last year gave up only 22, Fangio needs to do better. Yeah. He did better this week. I will say against the Eagles, his defense did better. We got to give props when they deserve it. Okay, it wasn't perfect or anything, but it was better. Go Rangers. Sorry, I know it's a Miami show, but I don't get to say it often. All right. Well, brother, you should be super happy. Let's do our 3A Graphics sports calendar so we can get to your Rangers. Last night in our 3A Graphics sports calendar, Panthers defeated the Sharks 3-1. They are now 3-3, so they're now back to 500. Reinhardt and Verhaeghe with goals. Stolars had 27 saves. Pistons and the Heat tonight at 7:30, and that'll be at the Kaseya Center. Heat are favored by 9. Maybe take the Pistons plus 9 here. D-backs defeat the Phillies 4-2. They win the series 4-3. They will now take on your Rangers, sir. Friday, game 1 of the World Series, 8:03 on Fox. D-backs are the 3rd wild card team that made it to the World Series, and the Rangers are the 2nd wild card team in their conference, or in the American League. How about that? 2 wild card teams are in the World Series. I mean, the D-backs finished 16 games behind the Dodgers. And they were the 3rd wild card team. They were behind the Marlins. The Marlins were the 2nd wild card team. The D-backs were the 3rd wild card team. Okay? And they're in the World Series. So 2 wild card teams there. Saturday, Virginia taking on UM. UM is favored by 19. How? I have no idea. Don't understand Vegas. Over and under is 47.5. Sunday at 1 o'clock. Our pregame will start at 11 a.m. Patriots are visiting the Dolphins, and the Dolphins are favored by 9.5. How? I have no idea. I don't understand, but those are the lines. 3A Graphics. Our 3A Graphics sports calendar. Please call Alan Blanco for custom printing and embroidery. 786-618-1443. That's 786-618-1443 for custom printing and embroidery. They're at 980 West 22nd Street in Hialeah. Your company, your club, your fantasy team, your corporation, whatever it is you're doing, man. You're going to have a marathon or something, and everybody wants to wear the same shirts, or a party, or you need new uniforms for your business, school, whatever it is that you're doing. Man, 3A Graphics sports calendar, pens, hats, cups, whatever it is you want to do. 3A Graphics sports calendar. All right. Let's see. Our 0D blitz package scared the hell out of some QBs last year. Even just the look of it before backing out was effective. Oh, man. What can I tell you? Actually, the Dolphins are one of the better teams at pressuring this year, even with Fangio. All right. So Canes just got to blow everyone out so Mario can just recruit. Well, he's not really that kind of dude. All right, we are ready to go. Joe Shad and our essentialmovingexperts.com Miami Dolphins exchange.
It's time to talk Aqua and Orange. Miami Dolphins fans. Here's a man with incredibly high standards. In fact, he isn't impressed with Tyreek Hill's dominance, Jalen Waddle's speed, or even Teron Armstead's swag. It's the Essential Moving Experts Miami Dolphins Exchange with Joe Shad. When you're looking to move your home or business anywhere in the U.S. from coast to coast, call Essential Moving Experts at 305-602-8369. Flat rates and no surprise charges. EssentialMovingExperts.com. Call 305-602-8369. Let's talk football. Here's Joe Shad.
All right. By the way, we are at 34,857. So we are inching closer to 35,000 for Bitcoin. How about that? Joe Shad, how much Bitcoin do you own?
Not in the Bitcoin game just yet.
Not just yet. You're waiting for it to be at 100,000. I got it. Okay. All right. Sounds good. So when you did the tape Don't Lie, because I rewatched the game yesterday, and I know you're going to give away some of your work. I didn't think it was that bad, actually.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's funny because in the intro to this segment, you guys talk about how I have high standards and I never think anything is good enough.
Oh, you do? You do. You're a high standard guy.
But I'm one of the few folks on the Dolphins beat who seem to be more encouraged than discouraged by what happened on Sunday night.
Amen.
And in rewatching the game, a couple of things jumped out that maybe they're obvious to some folks and maybe they're not so obvious to others. But let's think about this. It was 31-17. And yes, the Eagles could have scored again at the end there, but Tyreek Hill dropped a touchdown pass. Mm-hmm. Another touchdown pass to Tyreek Hill was negated by a penalty to Lester Cotton.
Mm-hmm. Tua threw an interception.
Tua threw an interception that could have tied the score at 24 in the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. And there's no way in hell that any football team makes it through a game with 0 penalties. That was a joke. It was totally lopsided, totally unfair.
Not why you lost. Not the reason why you lost. If we're being objective, it wasn't fair, but I'm not pointing to that's why you lost. The mistakes you just touched on were way more important. But in general, yes, it shouldn't have been that long.
And now this is another interesting element. Yeah, because in hockey, you would never have 10 power plays for one team and 0 for the other. It would the officials wouldn't allow it to happen. And clearly they missed some calls. I mean,
the Cedric Wilson one.
Yeah, and David Long getting choked down by his throat.
I saw Jalen Phillips on one where he was held.
Well, I think they got a sack on that play.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
They actually got – so Jalen Phillips, he's a monster, man. And the Dolphins, you made a good point a few minutes ago. They're first in the NFL in quarterback hits, third in quarterback sacks, 7th in pressures, and they're 18th in blitz. So there are some encouraging signs, especially as these players get more used to Vic Fangio's system and they get players back. Now, injuries are an interesting thing. Connor Hughes, who's a dude who covers the Jets either for The Athletic or SNY, I'm not sure which one, he went after me for noting that it was not reasonable to suggest that the Dolphins would win that game considering their injuries. He said that the Jets won despite numerous key injuries. Injuries are an interesting thing. You can, in fact, win football games without key players, but it's obviously much harder. It's much harder. It's just logic. It's just common sense. And they weren't just missing, average players. They were missing 3 guys with 14 Pro Bowls, Teron Armstead. Now, I know the pushback is going to be when you signed Teron Armstead, you knew you were going to have to play with Adam a lot. Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard. The 3 of those guys, 14 total Pro Bowls. So a factor here. I'm a little bit over Eli Apple on the outside and Kader Kohou on the outside. I'm disappointed in the fact they didn't give Cam Smith an opportunity. But obviously, Kader who goes to the slot, Xavier and Jalen Ramsey play on the outside as early as this week. Changes everything.
Yeah, it's just Cam's not ready yet. That's all.
I know. It's just so disappointing.
It's a rookie. This shit happens all the time. People shouldn't freak out on this. You know, sometimes, and this is a cover secondary. It's not one where they're just going to leave you on an island. There are responsibilities.
But that's a positive. You have help. You have help.
But
he would have help.
But he has to know when to switch at times. And clearly, he does not know when to switch and how to handle his zone at times.
I still think they could have gotten him a little playing time to see how he does at some point this season.
I'm actually more disappointed that they couldn't figure out a small role for Chase Claypool. 2 weeks in,
4 snaps.
Come up with like 3 routes for him to run.
Well, you know, Cedric Wilson took Jalen Waddle's spot, and he has performed well.
Yeah, he played well.
He's a good blocker, and he's made some outstanding sideline catches.
Yeah.
And he might have made a catch on 4th down. Tua showing you some trust in Cedric Wilson, going to him on 4th down if he's not pulled down by the face mask.
The back shoulder you're talking about? The
4th down on the sideline where he's pulled down by the face mask. Yeah, and they say, oh, well, it was the Eagles fans say, oh, it's not the definition of a face mask penalty because he let go right away. Come on. It impacted the play.
Yeah. And by the way, the back shoulder Cedric was also awesome because you don't play with them that much. And so to have that timing there in the middle of the game, that I thought that was super impressive, for Tua overall. So you feel the same way because I was trying to tell Dolphins.
They didn't get their butts kicked. Butts kicked.
No, it's not,
a little bit on the old line, but it's tough, man. You're going with your backup at left tackle, left guard, and center.
Right. And towards the end, they were kind of worn out on defense too, so they got the extra yards.
Yeah, I mean, Christian Wilkins played like 96% of snaps. And by the way, I like Christian Wilkins' play, but let's not be offsides 3 times this season.
Yeah, he didn't play well. He didn't play well in that game. Chubb played well in that game. David Long, dude, before he went out, Jesus Christ, he was playing his ass off.
And Jerome Baker improved in recent weeks.
Yeah.
More physical, better against the run.
One of the things that everybody talks about, they need a thumper in the middle, right? Everybody talks about that.
Not necessarily.
Well, that's not what they want.
Mm-hmm. They want guys who can run.
I was kind of called out from the building on that because I've been talking about it and they told me,
okay,
you're wrong.
Okay,
you're wrong.
Well, that's good. That's good that you get the correct information out there.
He goes, he approved David Long.
Right.
So he wants guys that can move around. He wants athletic guys. He doesn't want big prodding thumpers. That's not what he's looking for.
Yeah, Navarro Bowman was not the biggest guy.
I'm just saying that Jerome Baker ideally fits. But what I'm saying is,
guys who can run.
He wants guys that can run, and David Long can run, and David seems to be more of a thumper than
he's aggressive.
He
fires. Long fires now.
He's fearless. He throws his body out there like Zach Thomas does in a way that he just doesn't care. And I think that's what he's looking for because he wants really what's been going on is that the front has not done their job. That's really what's been going on because the front is supposed to do their job to free up those guys so they can fly around and get to. That's what Vic wants. Vic wants agile linebackers. He wants guys that can run. Is what he wants. So you're never going to see a thumper in the middle. You're not going to see a 255-pound linebacker and, big giant shoulders and all that. That's not going to happen there, unfortunately.
Now, Vic Fangio said last week that when he has Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey, it will change the way he calls the game. That's very interesting. I'm curious to see, how? Does that mean he blitzes more? Logic would say yes.
Yes,
Logic would say yes.
And the zone becomes you can then play man zone because then you can just keep the guys on the outside and say, okay, now we'll play a zone inside. So you can actually mix up the coverages. You could go all zone, you could go man on man, you could play like that, or you can have a double where your outside guys stay on man and then inside everything stays in a zone. And if that happens, then that's when I think your safety starts making all kinds of freaking plays, dude.
Yeah, Holland's a good player, and it's unfortunate that he's in the concussion protocol.
Yeah, when he doesn't have to worry about the two guys on the outside, and then all he has to worry about is everything inside, Holland's going to be a freaking monster, bro. Watch. If they're able to...
in the second half of the season, a lot of people are going to say that Jalen Ramsey's return is the key reason why they moved from, let's say, 27th, no, but I'm going to tell you that everyone's going to say, well, Ramsey is the key reason why they moved from 27th to 8th in scoring defense. All right, let's just say. Okay. But as important is going to be the player's comfort level with a playbook that's this thick on defense and operating a system that's completely different than what they did under Flores and Boyer.
34,977. Bitcoin is right. It's $23 away from 35,000. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah. All right.
You remind me of that guy on TV that drives up the stocks by talking about his own stocks. What's that guy's name?
Dude, it was at 16,500.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But I forget the name of the guy. There's a Kramer. There's a guy on TV, Jim Kramer. And what he does is he bets on stocks and then he talks them up. And that's a good strategy, actually. It works. I wish I had the power that you have to improve the value of Bitcoin. That's amazing.
Hold on a second. The difference is, I don't know if you know this, it's called inverse Kramer. Okay? Everything Kramer says, you go against. So when he tells you to invest, divest. When he tells you to divest, invest. Okay? So 10 days ago, he said Bitcoin's going to go down. It's up 30% since he said it. So this inverse Kramer, go look at it. Go on Twitter. Inverse Kramer. It's actually a thing. So we do this in the investment world. Anything and everything. He says, I swear to you, go to YouTube. And just put inverse Kramer. It'll show you, hey, this bank is the best. You gotta, and the bank actually goes fucking bankrupt right after. Literally.
We're in a different climate as media, and what I'm thinking of as we have this discussion is that Erin Kate Dolan, I believe is her name. She's like the ESPN betting expert. She's given picks, and on ESPN, and obviously the NFL is a league partner. And the NFL is interested in betting. She takes a lot of crap when she gets it wrong. And
welcome to
you. But the thing is, it's not just, I think the Dolphins are going to win. I think the Dolphins are going to win and cover. And then when someone loses their house, it worries me. I don't know. It does worry me a little bit.
Worries you? Huh? Here's my Venmo. Here's my Venmo yesterday from Raphael. Thank you, Big O. I made $2,000 today after I listened to your Bitcoin recommendation yesterday. I met you for the second time at the auto show last month. Hope to see you again soon. Keep up the great work.
Yeah, but do folks get mad at you when it goes down?
I always say I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a guy that loves crypto. But I got to say this. I haven't been wrong. So right now, nobody can really be mad at me. And by the way, you really don't lose until you sell, and you really don't win until you sell. Okay. So, it all depends.
Speaking of gambling,
we're $15 away, Joe. $15 away from 35,000. That is ridiculous.
Speaking of gambling, Dolphins by 9.5 over the Patriots. It's a big number.
You got to, dude.
It's a big number.
No, listen to this. You take the Patriots plus 9.5,
and then Dolphins to win.
You take the Pistons tonight plus 9.
Oh, you give gambling advice too.
You probably follow this half-ass. But who the fuck is the University of Miami to give Virginia 19 points? So I'm taking Virginia, I'm taking the Pistons, and I'm taking the Patriots. And I still think all the Miami teams will win, but none of them will cover. I don't think the Dolphins cover 10 points.
9.5 is an interesting one. They really want people to bet on New England. I think the Dolphins, people have been betting heavy on the Dolphins all year, and it's driving the spreads. They are a small underdog against the Chiefs, anywhere from 2.5 to 5.5, which is a big range. So, but it's a week out, so it'll settle in between, I suppose. I am going to Germany, by the way, so I'm looking forward to that. I don't know how that's going to affect our segment on that particular Wednesday.
Dude, we're digital. We adjust. Don't worry about it.
I don't know what the time difference is.
If I record at 1 a.m, the bags aren't going to be any different at 1 a.m. They stay there. My Benicio del Toros are here permanently. So I can't do anything about that, my brother. It's just one of those things. All right, let's play the shell game. Ramsey, Wilson, Jones, Ezukama, Craycraft, Armstead, Achan, Brooks, and Wynn are all gone to the IR. Wilson and Jones have been activated. You can only activate 8. 9 have been placed on the IR. Is the season for Eric Ezukama over since you have Chase Claypool? And could Chris Brooks' season also be over if you don't have injuries to your running backs?
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. It's clear that Ezukama, followed by Craycraft and Brooks, would be the guys kind of in play to maybe not come back. Yeah, but all the other guys are going to come back. And if a very key player, one of the names, one of the top 5 Dolphins is hurt, that player is just going to have to stay on the roster. They're just going to have to stay on the roster.
Right. It's kind of what you did last year with Tanner Conner, that you only protected him to keep him on the 53 because you didn't want to expose him to the practice squad, because hell, you had people that were inquiring about trading for him, and you wanted to keep him as a project. So last year you kind of used a couple spots, him and Ezukama, and they kind of took up positions when you weren't even really using them.
And the elevation capability helps. God forbid the Dolphins needed a right guard or something. Well, you go to your practice squad. So that really does. And that's part of the reason why the Dolphins have been so aggressive in using the injured reserve, in my opinion, is because you do have that elevation flexibility. Now, at a certain point, you run out. Chase Winovich, they ran out of elevations. They waived injured him, and he retired. So,
I loved his retirement letter, bro. I loved it because it's a young man that chased his dream.
He's only 28, no pun intended.
And he achieved his dream and played it at the highest level. And he gets to walk away satisfied that because if he doesn't chase it and he doesn't Winovich it, he was able to Winovich it. And now he can walk away satisfied that I chased my dream, I conquered it, and now I can move on to the next chapter of my life.
Small trivia. So Chase Winovich played 3 games for the Miami Dolphins, and I never met him. I never spoke a word with the guy. Now, not because I didn't want to talk to him, all right? It's because in the post game, he's not a key player to interview. And during the week, I was never allowed to interview him because he wasn't on the 53-man roster. So Chase Winovich, if you're out there, send me a message. I'd love to talk to you now that you're retired. Ask you about the 3 games you played for the Dolphins.
Yeah. No, but I loved it, man. I thought it was fantastic. All right, what do you got going on in the Palm Beach Post, my friend, so folks can check you out?
Yeah, look at the tape, don't lie. We get into Tua and Tyreek and the offensive line and the penalties and the defensive backs. Did you know the Dolphins have the 6th worst passer rating faced by opposing quarterbacks? All right. Passer rating, 6th worst. So we need to clean that up. We got to get Jalen and X back this week, in my opinion. Tua Tagovailoa will speak later today. Mike McDaniel will speak later today. Mike spends a lot of time talking about injuries. It's because we only get them on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We used to get them on Thursday. Maybe you get some other topics in there, but it's tough. There's so many key injuries, and he's the only one who's allowed to talk about it. You spend a lot of your time asking, what about this guy? What about that guy? What do you think about this guy? Is this guy's season over? How likely is this guy to play? So it's kind of boring, but you got to do it because there's nothing more important than the injury talk, right? There's nothing more important than how is Jalen Waddle's back? How close is Teron Armstead? What's that?
You're not phrasing it right. You're not phrasing it right. You're saying we, when it's Barry Jackson has to ask all the injury questions.
Well, he's a wily veteran, so we generally allow Barry to ask the first question, which is fine.
Oh, Always the first
Thank you for
question.
standing up for me when the CBS aggregator made that bogus headline that said Mike McDaniel snaps at reporter who questions Tua. This is what's wrong with the aggregation society and culture today. All right, we agree on that. Check out our stories. It's
I
sad.
talk about that all the time because people do this shit for views and clicks and all that kind of shit, and it pisses me off because I'm not that guy actually. Even though I may say things that at the beginning it looks like it, but eventually you look at it and you say, well, actually, that wasn't really crazy. That was right.
Hey, listen, we're all fallible. We're all fallible. We're all human. We all make mistakes. My thing is like, if you make a mistake, correct it, right? Correct it. So these CBS folks, I don't even think they ever corrected it. Maybe they did at some point after all my peers piled on.
They don't
Just
care
change
about
it. Say, hey, you know what? I got it wrong. My bad. People are very forgiving in today's society. If you say, hey, I got that wrong, my bad, I fixed it. That's it. Anyway,
But they don't
yeah, they,
it's good. It's not good. You're not going to get views if you. Oh, reporter asks about the viewpoint of others. Miami Dolphins. That's not. No. It's.
I don't
it's
think.
better.
I don't think. My part is that don't be aggregating when you didn't go watch the video. Now, Mike McDaniel does have a unique sense of humor, so sometimes people don't get it. But
Right, but it's better to make you the bad guy because it's sexier, and then the fans go off. Because I had people. Oh, did you see Joe Shad? I'm like, and what? Joe Shad said nothing. It was the same shit as Chris Perkins. Taking like that in the MVP conversation, insulted Tua, and they're freaking out on Perk, and it's like, yo, Perk is speaking the truth, dude. You know,
I mean, he and I disagree, but his point is definitely more about Tyreek deserving it than Tua not.
Well, whatever, but you can say that just like Rice might have deserved it more than Montana or Moss more than Brady. I mean, you could do that shit if you want in so many, Emmitt Smith over Troy Aikman. I mean, dude, this has been going on since the beginning of time that we've had the great teams a lot of times have two guys in the mix for the MVP, and you could argue the chicken or the egg bullshit if you want.
I know that you appreciate what Mike McDaniel said in response to my question, which was I've run these plays with a lot of other guys. I've run this offense with a lot of the other guys, and it hasn't looked like this. He's just wonderful to deal with, this guy. I mean, he is, and then we haven't even mentioned the Hard Knocks thing. I'm not so big on Hard Knocks being interesting in recent years, but maybe this will be interesting because of the characters.
Because of Mike, I actually think it could turn into a positive because Mike.
I'm a little worried.
Mike, you should be.
Yeah,
I get it, but let me tell you why. The only worry I have, but where I think it might be a good thing, is that people will see Mike McDaniel and players and agents will say, "Dude, I want to play for that guy. That guy's pretty cool."
That's a good point. Yeah.
Now on the Tua side, he's such a magnet and a lightning rod that I can see some of his goofiness or some of his honesty that gets used against him. I can see some of that being turned against Tua.
Well, it's a good thing that this is happening now and not in Tua's first 2 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point, because it's what you had before with Philbin. You had a dysfunctional place, and then you put cameras inside a dysfunctional place. I don't believe there's a dysfunctional place right now. I believe
Tua's much more relaxed, much more comfortable in his own skin. He's a husband and a dad. He'll be fine. I'm sure this isn't his first choice, to have Hard Knocks, but he'll be fine. He'll be fine. Check out my stuff on Shad, Joe, and the Palm Beach Post website. Sign up, $1 for 6 weeks. Helps us out as local journalists. It costs money to send me to Germany. So if I'm not there to interview the players and ask them these questions, who's going to do it? So
did you have to fight Hal? Did you have to fight Hal Habib to go to Germany? Because
Hal was originally scheduled to go, but we made a change. So Hal will probably go to. He's fine, but Hal will probably go to a future event. It's fine.
Sure?
We should both
be at a Bundesliga match. I don't know about that.
So I already got the scoop on Bundesliga for Saturday. Me, Marcel, David, and Daniel, I think, are going to go to a game about 20 minutes away from Frankfurt because the Frankfurt team is playing in Berlin, and that's too far. Germany's a lot bigger than you think.
Does Hal know you're doing this? Oh,
I don't think Hal was thrilled when David Hyde and I went to a Premier League match and watched that Mo Salah. Is that how you say it? Salah.
I would watch your back around Hal now.
Hal and I have a lot of good conversations about the Wrexham show, the TV show. Have you seen that?
No, I have not. I'm not. But
Wrexham.
You're taking away his soccer enjoyment. I don't know. That's not a good thing. That's not healthy for you. I'm just saying. I think Hal Habib really wanted to be at a Bundesliga game with a beer at room temperature. Just saying.
We'll figure out the German schedule for next week. I will hopefully be there in Frankfurt.
Follow him on Twitter at Shad Joe, and of course, subscribe to the Palm Beach Post. $1 for 6 weeks. Come on, man. Yeah.
6 months.
The 6 months. The Tape Don't Lie article once a week is worth the subscription.
Thanks,
dude.
dude.
Okay. All right, Joe. Much love. We'll catch up next week, my friend. Appreciate you.
See you. All right.
You got it. Essential Moving Experts. Man, you talk about a dude that is an ass kicker. That is Sean Williams. Big time Dolphins fan. That's why his business is in Dolphins colors. Literally. Yes. Okay. He uses aqua and orange because he's a Dolphins fan. His company and he lives in Daytona, and yet he comes down to the games. I mean, this is the kind of people you want to support anywhere you are in the country because he'll move you wherever you're at. They work the entire nation. And you tell them that Big O sent you, they will get you a discount, 386-213-4054. What you're going to love about Essential Moving Experts compared to most, flat rates, no surprise charges, no ballpark figures. Hey, we'll move you from here to here for this ballpark figure. No. A flat rate, straight up, that's what you get charged. It's a beautiful thing. And by the way, if you're moving to your new home, new office, whatever it is, and it's not ready yet, it won't be ready for another week or 3 weeks or a month, they will store your goods up on the house for up to a month. Now, if you need it a little longer, then you can negotiate a longer price, but I mean, Sean Williams just does an amazing job. Over 1,700 happy customers have filed in how much they love Essential Moving Experts because moving was never so easy. Call Sean Williams, folks. He'll get it done. 386-213-4054 for essentialmovingexperts.com.
You've been listening to the Essential Moving Experts Miami Dolphins Exchange with Joe Shad. When you're looking for local, home, long-moving services or office relocation, call Essential Moving Experts at 305-602-8369. Flat rates and no surprise charges. EssentialMovingExperts.com. Call 305-602-8369. Miami Dolphins fans, follow Big O Radio Show on all platforms to keep up with your favorite NFL team.
Hell of a shell game. By the way, Bitcoin did hit 35,000. Okay. So we hit 35, which is a beautiful thing. And my favorite part about hitting 35 is the idiots on Twitter that when we always put up a poll question about, Bitcoin or whatever, they always pick, the negative end of it, right? And always wrong. The people that are picking the negative end. So, it's just awesome just to watch it. Anyways. Okay. I predict Mac Jones will get sacked 7 times Sunday. I like it. That's a good prediction. 7 is just about enough. I hope we beat the Patriots, but I doubt we're putting 40 on the Patriots. I just doubt they're beating them by 10. I would love it, but I would not give the points if I'm a Dolphins fan. At all. Jesus, it hit 35. That's pretty good. That's pretty damn good. All right, so Dolphins got to play the shell game. Interesting. They've placed 9 players on the IR. We talked a little bit about it with Joe. They can only bring back 8. Now, you've brought back Wilson. You've brought back Robert Jones. Okay? So you've got those 2 back. Ramsey is going to be 3. Armstead's going to be 4. Achan's going to be 5. Wynn's going to be 6. Question is, do you bring back Craycraft as number 7? Ezukama and Brooks, I don't believe have a shot at coming back anymore. I think these are 2 guys that you can actually stash. They're young guys. You can stash them for next year and bring them back next year. But I don't believe that you're going to be able to activate those guys. So you're already going to end up having, 6 guys. You're only going to have 2 spots left over. If you use one for Craycraft, then that means you will have 1 spot left over to bring back. Or injuries, you're going to have to keep players on the active roster. And then you're going to have to cut somebody else that might be an extra in another position to then fill the need for the spot that you just missed right now for the injury. It's a really tough situation for Miami. But then again, this is the league. And this is not a Miami thing. This is all over the league. Everybody loses players. This is why I don't want you to use the crutch of, well, if you're fully healthy, we don't even know if they're ever going to be fully healthy. You got to find, listen, as long as the quarterback's in play, okay, you got to find a way to win games. Now, if you don't have if there's no Tua, then, you're not going anywhere. But if you have Tua, then you got to win with your backup lineman, your backup defensive tackle, your backup corner, whatever the hell it is that you have, you got to deal with it. Because everybody else is going to have to deal with it. That's just kind of the way the game is played. But it is going to be interesting to see how this whole thing is managed. Because pretty soon you're going to have to be using roster spots. Or you're going to have to decide they're done for the year. If they're not, important enough that you can overcome it. If it's a guy like Armstead, his next injury, he will not be placed on the IR. He'll be just kept on the roster. And that's what they're going to have to do because they won't be able to. They're not going to put him on the IR and then lose him for the playoffs also. You know what I mean? And there's a good chance he could get injured again. So the shell game, the injured shell game that they're playing is one that they're losing out on options right now. What else do we have going on in the world of sports? Let's see. So tonight, the Miami Heat open up the season against the Pistons. Heat by 9. Told you, go with the Pistons, take the 9. Because the Heat have proven last year during the regular season that they weren't really blowing out anybody, to be quite honest. And the Pistons are kind of upstart right now. I would be careful there. I would not lay the points. That's all I'm saying. I think the Heat will win. But I don't know about the 9. Now, Riley spoke and talked about how Bam and Tyler are cornerstones and how one needs to average 25 points, maybe the other 22. And in a way, what Riley's saying is not wrong at all because you cannot have Jimmy Butler having to carry this team every single night. In the conversation, he talked about how they need to play a lot of games too, and including Jimmy. Jimmy can't go missing 20 games. It just sets your team back. But can they actually meet the demands of Pat Riley? I mean, Tyler Hero should have all the motivation in the world now. I don't think he needs any more motivation now. If he doesn't want to be on the trade block anymore, if he wants to be respected and all those kind of things, well then, kid, ball out and stay healthy. Because it's really that's what it's all about. It's can you stay healthy? Because he never can stay healthy. That's what it's all about. And then Bam, in order for you to average 25, are you going to impose your will finally? What I've wanted him to do forever, but he refuses. And I say refuses because he has the ability. If Bam didn't have the ability, like a Ryan Tannehill, like, oh, well, maybe he can become no, he can't. He never become a franchise quarterback. That's not in his DNA. It's not who he is. So Bam has the ability that Ryan doesn't have to be a franchise player, but he just doesn't have the desire, willpower, drive, whatever the hell you want to call it. He's kind of, fine being a super role player. So Riley has put out the challenge. And I love the psychology behind it, because if the Heat can ever get to a point that they're going to be a championship contender, then those two guys really have to become cornerstones. They really have to become franchise players. It's proven over and over again. You can do some pretty good things with Jimmy. You can get to an Eastern Conference Finals. Hell, you can even sneak into the finals, but you're not going to win them. So why not try to better your chances by, having your guys that are supposed to be star players step up and become and play like stars? That would be really, really good. Let me get into a little music and entertainment news and history and all that good stuff. First of all, let's go with birthdays on October 25th. We start off with Katy Perry. She is 39 years old. Let's see. Ciara, smoke show wife of Russell Wilson, 38 years old. Let's see. I don't think it's a heavy list today, if I remember correctly when I went over it. Chad Smith, drummer. Everybody knows Chad Smith, drummer from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, where he wears his hat backwards. He is 62 years old. Camille Crawford, model, is 31. Craig Robinson, actor, 52. Adam Goldberg, actor, 53. And Juan Soto, baseball player, is 25. And that's it. That is it. Although, who is this guy? Ryan Clark. Oh, he's a finalist on the X Factor, whatever, in England. That doesn't matter. Anyways, those are your birthdays today. Let's go through music history. Today in music history, on October 25th in 1969, Pink Floyd released their quadruple-sided album, Umaguma. In 64, the Rolling Stones performed on the Ed Sullivan Show for the first time. A riot broke out in the studio, leading to Sullivan's famous quote, "I promise you, they will never be back on our show again." However, the Stones would go on to play at the Sullivan Show 5 more times. And it gets ratings. We need them. We got a really big shoot tonight. In 1966, on this date, the first Ozfest was held, a 2-day festival in Phoenix, Arizona, and Devore, California. In 86, on this date, Bon Jovi went to #1 on the album charts with Slippery When Wet. It featured 2 #1 singles, You Give Love a Bad Name and Living on a Prayer. In 2014, Cream bassist Jack Bruce died of liver disease at 71. In 2006, Ronnie James Dio announced he was reuniting with Black Sabbath bandmates Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler to form Heaven and Hell. I remember going to that tour. I saw that tour. How about this in music history? Today, it's really not music history. It's music and skateboarding, what's that called? Extensions history. Okay. Kurt Cobain's daughter and Tony Hawk's son are now married. Frances Bean Cobain and Riley Hawk tied the knot earlier this month in Los Angeles, getting married and getting a license in September in San Diego County. The couple's marriage certificate says they got hitched on October 7th, and the celeb who performed the ceremony, none other than REM lead singer Michael Stipe. Shit, dude. I'd remarry my wife if Michael Stipe is like, doing the ceremony. That'd be pretty damn cool. Got to take a selfie after, try to convince him to tour again. I saw REM twice, and I regret that I only saw them twice. Okay? That, to me, it sucks. Green and Automatic for the People. Those are the only two tours I saw. And I regret that I didn't go to the earlier tours. I really do. By the way, Stipe is also Frances's godfather, and her godmother is Drew Barrymore. Frances and Riley have been in a relationship since 2021. It's her second marriage, his first. Frances filed for divorce from her first husband, Isaiah Silva, who's a musician, in March of 2016, less than 2 years of marriage, and ended up fighting for custody for one of Kurt's guitars. Like, you're fighting his daughter for the guitar when it's his daughter? No word on a honeymoon yet, but it seems like the world's their oyster. Let's face it, both come from very successful and wealthy families. So there you go. Frances Bean Cobain is married to Tony Hawk's son. How about that? That is very interesting. I thought that was a nice twisted story. Speaking of twisted, athletes in the news right now. Sergio Brown, former Bill, arrested on murder and concealment of dead body charges of his mom. Chris Olave, who was speeding in a 70 and a 35, second time caught speeding. He tells the police officer, "My bad, dog. I play for the Saints." And then we've got the Chiefs' Justin Ross, who pleads not guilty and facing 2 charges of domestic violence. Nice to see football players making a real impact in our society. Yes, Sean, what do you got for me? I'm sorry.
There's a couple super chat.
Oh, okay. Well, then let's get to it, baby. Let's get to the super chatties. Give me the first one here. Frankie Fresco has a little AEW action for me. Hikaru Shida versus Ruby Soho. Oh, this is easy. Goodbye, Ruby Soho. Who could hang a name on you? So anybody that's named Soho, you're gone. You're history. So I'm going the other way. That's it. Goodbye, Ruby Soho. Your ass is going to lose today. Right? That's goodbye, Ruby Soho. Your ass is going to lose tonight. Do I get a thumbs up or a thumbs down on that?
I'll give you a holy Sheeta.
A holy Sheeta. Wow. That's strong. Thank you, Frankie. Appreciate you, my brother. What's next? It is Todd. And Todd is asking, becoming an elite team starts with winning all the games you are supposed to win. Then you can start beating elite teams next. Well, they are beating all the teams they're supposed to. They're losing to the elite teams. That's when you become elite, when you can start beating the elite. Not there yet, but I'm telling you, I don't feel as bad as I did on Sunday when I watched it last night. I was like, this wasn't too bad. 211 votes, 72% of you said Bitcoin would hit 35, and you are right. I like it. I like it. Frankie may be the only one watching AEW. I gave up on it, says Alexis. Josh says, laughing my ass off. You're making me laugh. Thank you, sir. I don't know if it was me or somebody else. Oh, hope it wasn't a shotgun wedding, said Pat in Asheville. Too soon. Let's see. They both collapse under pressure, but Tua is better at QB at this point. Right. Eric, I want to hear Big O's take on what? What is it? Eric, I will give you that. What is it? I don't think Eric Ezukama will be back this season because he has the worst injury with the neck injury. Plus, the Claypool thing, he's experienced. So, no, I don't. I think he's done. Brooks is the other guy that I think is also done. Unless they have no more injuries, and then they can activate Brooks, which I don't know if that's going to be the case. So, okay, we got that going on. What else do we have? So the what's it called? The improvement in Aaron Rodgers' Achilles isn't showing, apparently. Aaron Rodgers has had what he thinks is kind of a setback, because he thought that the pixie dust that he was throwing on his Achilles was actually working. And he thought for sure that, hey, guys, you hang in there and I'll be back in time for the season, and we'll go to the playoffs and the Super Bowl and we'll win it all. But Rich Cimini of ESPN reports that Rodgers was on Pat McAfee's show and admitted that it was a tough week of rehab, and that there's some frustration on his part due to that rehab is not progressing as quickly as it seemed earlier in the process. The quarterback also admitted that he doesn't quite have the strength in his calf and is still walking with a limp. Really, Aaron? So let's see. You just got injured. Your calf was already screwed up as it is. There's a reason why on this show we were calling you Calf Rodgers of the 21st century. And so now you expect to get healthy just within a couple of months, something that nobody does with an Achilles, much less at 40 years old with a bad calf. Actually, 2 bad calves. It's just, some of these people, they love to say a lot of stuff, kind of like what he does with other things, and yet they have like no proof. It's funny how you want to battle something, but then you have absolutely no proof about anything. And so, there we go. Same as his Achilles. Oh, no, yeah, I'm going to come back in a couple. Yeah, no, of course. You're completely different than every other human being that takes a year to come back at least from an Achilles. Yeah, no, of course. You're going to do it in 3-4 months because you're Aaron Rodgers. And your bones and your ligaments heal. Let's not forget that you break your collarbone and then re-break your collarbone, and you've missed time and all that because of that. But of course, you have this special healing qualities, and you also have special qualities where you break down too. You gotta love that, dude. What's worse, the Dolphins lose to the Eagles and Bills, or Eagles lose to Jets, Niners lose to Browns, Vikings, Bills, Patriots? Listen here, Jim, I don't give a shit about those other teams. See, that's the difference, Jim. I don't feel better about the Dolphins because the Patriots lost this week, or the Bills lost this week, or the Jets lost this week. I don't care about that. That doesn't make me feel better about my Dolphins. So what I need is my Dolphins to be elite. So I don't gain anything from others losing. I would feel better if they would have beaten either the Bills or the Eagles. I would feel better if they didn't get absolutely trashed by the Bills. But I'm not the guy, it's kind of like I get this all the time with Democrats and Republicans to have a little fun with politics here, since I love picking on Democrats and Republicans. So you say something bad about Biden, right? And you got your Biden lover and says, well, Trump does this. And then you say something bad about Trump and say, well, Biden does this. And it's like, okay, so are we supposed to justify either moron by the actions of the other? Or how about they're both wrong? How about they're both terrible? How about they're both guilty of doing a lot of bad things? But no, you can't get them to do that. You can't get one side or the other to admit, right? Because they lie to themselves. That's what we do in this world. A lot of you just lie to yourselves about what you're watching or what you're rooting for or what you're talking about, like Aaron Rodgers does. So, it's just hilarious. Oh, man. Anyway. Miami averages 47.7 at home per game. Now, they haven't played the teams that they need to play. And then if they can actually start doing that against elite teams, that's when it matters, my brother. So there you go. Aaron Rodgers not actually healing up the way he should. Sean, did you see that pilot that tried to crash a plane over the weekend? So an off-duty airline pilot riding in the extra cockpit seat at Horizon Air Flight said, I'm not okay, just before trying to cut the engines off in mid-flight. He later told police he had recently taken psychedelic mushrooms as his mental health worsened. Is this guy hanging around with Aaron Rodgers? State prosecutors in Oregon filed 83 counts of attempted murder against Alaska airline pilot Joseph David Emerson. 3 names. Just saying. 44. Tuesday, just before he appeared in court with his attorney Noah Horst. Entering not guilty pleas on his behalf, federal prosecutors meanwhile charged Emerson with interfering with a flight crew, which can carry up to 20 years in prison. According to a probable cause statement filed in Multnomah County Circuit Court, Emerson told Port of Portland police following his arrest that he had been struggling with depression, that a friend recently had died, and that he had taken psychedelic mushrooms about 48 hours before he attempted to cut the engines. He also said he had not slept more than 40 hours, according to the document. Police reported that Emerson did not appear to be intoxicated at the time of the interview. And in a statement Tuesday, Alaska Airlines, which owns Horizon, said neither the gate agents nor flight crew noticed any signs of impairment that might have barred him from the flight. An FBI agent wrote an probable cause affidavit in support of the federal charges that Emerson said he was its first time taking mushrooms. While a psilocybin, it is illegal in most countries, Oregon legalized it for adults this year. The Food and Drug Administration in 2018 designated it as a breakthrough therapy that might be used for mental health conditions or substance use disorders. Emerson, an Alaskan airline pilot from Pleasantville, California, was arrested Sunday night after the flight crew reported that he attempted to shut down the engines on a Horizon flight from Everett, Washington to San Francisco. While riding in the extra seat of the cockpit, the plane was diverted to Portland, where it landed safely with more than 80 people on board. Okay? Anyway, after he tried to cut off the fuel to its engines, after what flight crew described as a brief struggle, lasted only about 30 seconds, Emerson left the cockpit. Flight attendants placed Emerson in wrist restraints and seated him in the rear of the aircraft. But as the plane descended, he tried to grab the handle of the emergency exit. According to a document, a flight attendant stopped him by placing her hands on top of his. I have so many questions on all of this, right? One, you're depressed, so your answer to depression is to kill everybody? and you're suffering from depression and you want to take a hallucinogen, I don't care what they tell you. That doesn't sound like a good combination, especially when at least you're not even doing it with some medical supervision or something. I get it if it's some kind of thing that you're doing, doctor supervised somewhere, and they're watching you and some kind of crazy ass therapy or something, but at least you have professionals watching you. And it's just, by the way, I watched the videos of friends and family members, neighbors. They all swear normal dude, absolutely normal dude, normal father, plays with the kids, yada yada, friendly neighbor, all of that stuff, and all his coworkers, like, this guy's a great guy. Like, never, like, there was no inkling of it, typical, which is kind of what ends up happening. But man, wow. You're depressed, and the way you want to solve depression is by trying to kill everybody on a plane? That's some odd and harsh shit there, dude. Big old Duffy's on 57th Avenue for Sunday's game and 9:30 for the Chiefs game. They open at 10 a.m. Old school bar, reminds me of Cheers. I do like Duffy's. That one on 57th Avenue, if I remember correctly, that was the watering hole for Dennis Erickson. If I remember correctly, he was there quite a bit, enjoying a drink or two at Duffy's. We do appreciate you discriminating against people with 3 names. John Wilkes Booth, Lee Harvey Oswald. I'm just, you know what I'm talking about. These people with 3 names, it's just one of those. If you have 3 names, you may have some crazy in you. I'm just saying. What can I do? I mean, the history is littered with famous killers, and they have 3 names. Don't know what it is, but don't give your kid a 3rd name. That's my answer right there. Don't give your kid a 3rd name. Might turn out to be crazy and kill a whole bunch of people. Or just John Lennon. Ruin my Beatles. Jesus. I had a shot at seeing the Beatles if it wasn't for Mark David Chapman. It's very surprising that airplanes have 2 red handles that can be pulled to stop engines while in flight. No. He tried to turn off the engines on one, and then he tried to open the door on the plane. That's what it was. The 2 different incidents that he had. Unless I'm misunderstood that he tried to turn it off twice. But I think it was once the engines, they stopped him, they subdued him, and then he tried to open the door. So he really wanted to just screw everybody. But it was just like, man, that is an odd story. And again, one more thing. Props to Brady Quinn, because if there's one person in this world that cannot be defended, is Deshaun Watson. Okay? Deshaun Watson can never, ever be defended. So Brady Quinn was on Fox Radio, and he says, everyone with a medical opinion has cleared Deshaun Watson. The situation is almost similar to a kid getting a $230 million trust fund. You ask them to get a job, and they have no incentive to do it. So then Quincy Avery is Deshaun Watson's boneheaded trainer, because it seems that Quincy Avery is just as fucking stupid as Deshaun Watson. Says, Brady, I'm going to be real here. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and sit behind a microphone gossiping like a little high school chick. Right? So Brady comes back at him and says, come talk anytime you want in person. Open invitation. So then Quincy, of course, smart ass and dumb. I just seen you Saturday, and I don't have anything I want to talk to you about. I'm telling you, you are talking about things you don't know. Talking about another man who doesn't know, you don't know, is weak. LOL, well, I didn't see you. And he says, point being. And then Brady then comes back and closes it out with an absolute boom. Now, how about we massage this conversation and get it to a happy ending? Does that sound satisfactory? And then obviously nothing ever to be heard again from Quincy Avery. Guys, and I see in the thread, like idiots start putting like Brady's stats. Brother, everybody knows that Brady wasn't a good quarterback in the NFL. That has nothing to do with anything. That's not what he's paid to do. He's paid to talk about it, and he's not saying anything wrong. But as for Quincy Avery, Quincy clearly is not very smart. Deshaun Watson is not something. It's not a thing you defend, because I'm not even going to call that a person. I'm not even going to call that thing a human being. Okay? Deshaun Watson is not the kind of thing that you defend. And I get it, bro. You're his trainer and you're paid to kiss his ass and all that. But, the guy is scum to the rest of the world. And he isn't playing anything like what they're paying for. But again, I got to tell you something. And I feel bad for Browns fans because you all deserve way better. Let me preface this before I say anything. I take all pleasure in watching Deshaun Watson fail. I mean, all pleasure. It's like watching Belichick lose. There isn't enough games in the season for me to watch him lose. I could watch a Belichick loss every day of the week and twice on Sundays for the rest of my life. You tell me, oh, you got to set up 3 hours a day to watch Belichick lose. Let's do it. Let's have some fun. And I would love that. But this moron wants to defend what cannot be defended. It really is amazing to me. Mr. Avery, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Clearly, you're not very smart. You might be able to train people's muscles, but the muscle inside your noggin, that ain't working, my brother. That ain't working. Okay? In fact, your brain works as effective as Deshaun Watson at quarterback right now. It's kind of what's happening. So next time, my man, just stay the hell out of it. No matter who it is, just shut up, dude. Deshaun Watson is the kind of lowlife nobody defends. All right? Just be fortunate that he actually pays you. And that's it. If I was you, I wouldn't even admit that I'm his trainer. That in itself is embarrassing. Has he asked you for a massage? Anyway. Send him Dwight Howard. He loves those massages. Let's see. Cockpits have 2 red handles that can be pulled to stop fuel to engines. Oh, really? You're full of fun facts. That's nice. I didn't know that. Oh, have you ever eaten food at Mom and Pop's supermarket that had a lunch counter? These places are slowly going away. Ever since the pandemic, a lot of that open air stuff and all that, there's a lot of that's been kind of limited, man. Yeah, defending Deshaun is like Hitler trivia. God, I can't believe they did that. Who was it that did it? What team or university? I saw that and it was like, oh my God, you really did not have
Michigan
Hitler.
State.
Michigan State, that's right. They're not really known to be they're not really known as as an educational destination. It's kind of like Arizona State. It has kind of that disrespect. Sorry, Arizona State and Michigan State, but that's kind of the reputation your schools have. They're not really respected as academic institutions. And when you have Hitler trivia, it kind of proves that, yeah, you're pretty much a stupid university. Yeah, that was oh my God. Hitler trivia. Seriously? Like, where did anybody think that was going to be a good idea? Obviously he can't be objective since he's getting paid by the guy. That's my point. And he should know that, so he should shut up. Because one, you're defending a lowlife, a guy that most people look at like a scumbag that got away with a bunch of crimes. And most people didn't want, like, I know that there's some of you out there, unfortunately, but most of us Dolphin fans that actually have scruples and we have, some self-respect, we didn't want Deshaun Watson. Okay? Like real decent human beings were so against it that they might have said, I'm kind of tired of the Dolphins now. I would not have been happy with Deshaun Watson here. I got to tell you, the rip job that I would be doing to the Dolphins every day would dwarf anything I've done in the past. What I would do to, I know it wasn't Chris Grier because I know it was Flo, but I would have killed Flo and everybody, Ross, everybody. I know it's Flo's idea, but everybody is going to go down. God, can you imagine if they would have been that stupid, that disrespectful? That's why, for Browns fans, I'm sorry, but, I hope he never, ever has any success. I hope it gets worse and worse for Deshaun Watson. I hope it gets to the point that he is ripped for the rest of his life for allegedly being an absolute scumbag off the field, but also being a loser on the field and stealing money and all that. Yeah. So, we dodged so many bullets. Yes, we did. Yeah. Big O, what was the best Dolphins road game that you ever remember? Damn. Haven't gone really to any good Dolphins road games. I saw the Patriots a couple times and they lost. I've gone up to the Bills and they've lost. They lost the Bills playoff game that I went to. I went to 62-7. They lost. I haven't been to a road win for the Dolphins. I have not ever been to a road win for the Dolphins. Actually, now that I think about it. Never. So, yeah, no. Unfortunately, I have not. I'm trying to think of one, and I don't have one, actually. So, I've only been to a few, but none of them were wins. Oh, stay away from Finn's road games. Yeah, but look at the teams I went to see, bro. So these were bad teams. They weren't going to win. You know what I mean? So I would have liked to have been a fly on the wall during the meeting. What's your idea, Bob? How about Hitler trivia? Brilliant, Bob. You've done it again. Yeah, you got to figure and they're typing it in. They're putting it, and at no point it went through anybody's mind. The person that created it, the person that approved it, the people that are typing it up, the people that are posting it, at no point hey, isn't this a terrible idea? Why is Hitler ever a subject on anything? What is wrong with you? Just Wow. How bad was that 62? That was terrible. That was terrible. That was terrible. Worse was Jimmy Johnson at the end of, the press conference, where he just had a 30-second statement and put his tail between his legs and walked out like a total coward and didn't answer a question because he set the team up for failure. He set Marino up for failure, So that's that part sucks, unfortunately. But what are you going to do? It is what it is, as they say. All right, we are out of here. We thank Matt Verderam and Joe Shad. We appreciate all of you, as always, for tuning in. We will see all of you tomorrow afternoon. Appreciate all of you out there. We'll be at Hialeah Park. We'll take some shirts. If you come by, you got a chance to win some shirts. I'm going to give it away. We thank Sean Stanley, the man, the myth, the legend. We will see you tomorrow afternoon. Same time, same place, same bat channel.